back. Unclicked podcast. This is a late Christmas gift for everyone. We got mid-school super pro / new school legend, Mike Escamilla, Rooftop.
I thought you were talking about Corey.
Corey, he's new school.
And this guy that nobody knows.
There's this
Corey
other
Martinez.
dude that's sitting there. He's cool. He's just from the neighborhood. It's kid Corey Martinez.
Just moved in last week.
But Corey is in town.
Moved
Thanks
in
for
or moved
sitting
out
in.
front.
Rooftop, thanks for driving down from LA, getting stuck in traffic.
It's good. Thanks. Yeah, I didn't realize you guys live basically in Mexico.
Me and
Yes.
Fudger don't live together, but
Yes.
San Diego is close to Mexico.
Yes, I'm pretty far south.
You're definitely the whitest dudes in this neighborhood.
Yeah, that is actually true.
That's totally fine. Yeah.
That's not. Yeah, that's just the way it is. But
Yeah.
that's all good. I like all my neighbors. My neighbors are awesome. So thank you for making the drive.
Yeah.
I know it was a long one. So
That's good.
first thing we definitely have to talk about is the grind loop that was posted yesterday or the day before.
I'm excited for someone, and I hope no one gets hurt.
This is from Florida Swampfest. They're making
Yeah.
a grind loop already. Kind of tribute to your grind to backflip.
I mean, I don't know if they actually know that happened. I mean, I know Trey does,
Trey does.
but
Trey
most
does,
people
yeah,
don't
sure.
know, I think.
Yeah.
But it's I mean, I exchanged we had a few interactions. Like a year and a half ago, he asked me some questions about it when they originally were thinking about building it or built it maybe and just been hiding it this whole time before Swampfest got canceled. And I gave him my 2 cents. And, it wasn't much. But we made some mistakes in the way we built it. It looks like the way they built it will fix those mistakes. But this one they built is also a lot smaller than the one I built.
You did the roller coaster.
I
loop.
did.
I forgot
I was
about
gonna say,
that.
I
I'm
said
thinking
you did
about
the roller
grind to
coaster
backflip.
one.
No, the roller.
Oh.
I did it, yeah.
You did this already.
But
yeah.
we built
broke
it.
some
We
ribs
just
on
hit
it.
me.
Yeah, I broke ribs and ankle, but we did something like I officially came around. They fixed a problem that we had. Like I rode into mine, but when it came around, it came back and met the ground again. This one comes out and you'll drop off of it. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah.
And so
your
when we
wheels are
came-
hitting the ground, you're coming off the grind.
Well, we're coming off the grind, and so your body's not ready for it. And I sort of buckled when that happened. And then since I was on super slick ground in that warehouse that I did it, I just slid out. If it would have been on not slick ground, I think I probably would have sort of buckled onto the bike.
Yeah.
But that was the problem. And then at that point, they pulled the plug because I was destroyed. Because at one point, the crash before that was
No,
a
they were
nightmare.
gnarly. I want to get those.
Yeah, the crash before is I front flip out of it, but their loop that they built is much smaller.
Yeah,
I
it
think
almost doesn't
looks
look
like it.
possible.
Well,
It's
it's
pretty tight.
Yeah.
It's tight. I think it's at 11 foot. It's definitely possible.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
you think it's
once you
easier
get
to
rid of, once you're just doing it in the grind, though, the ratio of how small it grind
It's the
compared to
same.
wheels.
It's the same.
Is it?
I believe so because it's
feel
the
like
same center point.
True.
Right?
I guess.
Where your wheels touch is no different in length.
I guess that's true.
I think.
Yeah.
But
I just think since you're lower in,
You'd think that.
but that is, I guess, the same length.
I think because when I did it, I remember people were like, "Well, how easy is that? You just get in and go around."
Yeah, right.
But it was by far the hardest thing I'd ever done in my life.
Mm-hmm.
And that says a lot.
On a bike. So it
It was harder than the grind to backflip.
Yeah,
into the
because the
ditch.
grind to backflip, I was in control of I just had to get off the end
Good.
and not be a chicken shit. You know what I mean? And commit to it and get off the end of it. This one, and I don't know if they'll have the same problems. I'm just basing it on my experience with it. The tubes I had were 4 inches apart. And so you had a 4-inch play, right? So your pegs could play a little bit. But if your tire hit or rubbed at all on any of them, it ejected you.
Damn.
Yeah.
So you had to go into, because it's curved, right? Like a corkscrew. So
Oh
you
my
had to go
God.
into it with the right body lean for the whole flip, right? So you would be centered because if I would hit the top, I would go up and it would go, zzz, and then I would get chucked.
You were probably completely against waxing rails back then, too.
No, you had to wax. You also, what we didn't realize, you have to wax it almost every time. At least for ours, it was bigger because you don't realize how far. Every time you would do a 4x4 grind 4, you're usually going flat or downhill, right? If you do one.
Down, yeah.
Yeah, so you don't realize how much friction that is and how fast you lose speed.
Yeah.
Right,
So
Yeah.
it was the
2
difference.
times more.
Yeah,
Pegs.
it was the difference between a half a crank that would be too fast or too slow.
Crazy.
You know, that I would get there, I'd fall out of it, or I would be too fast and get ejected. But yeah,
So this was tough
so
for Rooftop,
gnarly.
and he's the 4x4 champion.
I
You've had
mean-
video parts with 10 4x4 clips. So
With-
anybody trying this, be careful. This is going to be hard.
With that said, I'm fully aware that the talent in BMX is so much farther than I've ever had on my bike. So there's dudes out there who can do it. I think it's going to be one of those things where it's someone gets it right away.
I think the dudes trying aren't going to be the ones that can do it though.
That's never. I'm calling Denim Cox.
But
Denim Cox is going to try.
Denim can do that. Yeah,
he's the wild man that will just send it, and it will work.
It's one of those ones where you just got to be confident and be a little bit of aware of what's going on. But I think you get lucky. And
fucking send it too.
I think you can get lucky. You get one that gets close right in the beginning, and then you can you'll start from that point instead of doing one where you're I
fall out of the top.
Yeah, I fell out of the top of mine.
Damn, and you had that gnarly crash in your Etnies part where you
the loop.
On the loop.
You had some gnarly loop experience. That is bad. I want that too. I'm gonna pull that one up.
Stop doing them.
That one is so gnarly.
Clearly not that good at it.
Oh man, for anyone who hasn't seen what is that forward?
That's forward, but that's the
forward
first
part is
loop
amazing.
anyone had ever tried.
Yeah,
on a bike.
So no one had done one yet. I think Dave.
So there was no one to tell you how to do it at all.
Fuzzy,
even though Morgan will tell you how to do it now.
Yeah, me and Morgan have had we've had conversations about that clip saying that I pulled off, but I didn't pull off because what happens when you pull off is you pull off and you go into a backflip.
Yeah.
Right. If you pull off, you'll go into a flip fakie and then let go of the bike. Right. Because you've seen people do that. I just pump so hard that I get ejected because I stick to it.
Yeah, you go around. Your body almost goes around.
If I pulled off, then I would have come off.
That was a hell of a crash.
But but I didn't have any pads either, so I had to just. And the funny thing is when I did that, I told Losi and everybody, I'm we're doing this thing. There was this loop built in some weird backyard in Lake Elsinore or something.
I would think that would be like Tony Hawk's or something.
No, it's just some weird crazy backyard. We get there and the guy just says, "Hey, my grandfather has weird flashbacks. So if he comes out of the house with a gun, don't freak out, just stay calm."
Nice setting to try an 18-foot tall loop.
It's literally I don't remember, but to set the scene, it's the guy basically lives in a trailer almost, and then it's just a backyard full of junk out in the middle of the desert. And there was a little outhouse size room, right? And this is straight out of Texas Chainsaw Massacre. The room, and then there was a woman in there, in a dress, an old dress with all these trinkets covering all the walls, listening to a record player. And she was just in the backyard, just we were doing this. So it was. So anyway,
Lake Elsinore is a trip.
Yeah. So I'm in Long Beach. I drive to Ride Magazine to get Losi. I get to ride and I realize I forgot my bike. So I drove back to Long Beach, got my bike, drove back to Ride, got Losi. And then,
you're a damn rock star, huh?
Just so dumb.
Just doing too much shit, you forget your bike.
And I just think that I was so mentally thinking about this.
Yeah.
Let me get out there, and then I have no pads.
That's a bad omen when you forget your bike going to do something really sketchy like that.
That'd
be hard. I know.
I know.
I know.
And I just had to get pumped up and do it. And you see me in the video. I'm I'm running up, and there's actually Meatloaf, "Bat Out of Hell" is playing from my car.
Oh my god!
Because it was before they had speakers or anything, and I'm just trying to do whatever.
It was probably you had to have a Walkman or your car.
Okay, it's not that old.
No, did you have an MP3 player?
Well, you said that somebody was listening to a record player.
Yeah, but it was in
1950.
Jesus Christ, guys! But yeah, I got smoked on that. Either way. Yeah.
How much? I mean, I feel like sometimes the wrecks are almost more notorious than the pull.
There's only one.
Yeah, if you would have pulled, for using that one for an example, if you would have pulled that would have people would have been like, dude, he did the first loop, but that clip still just shows up.
Every time you watch it,
I might be wrong, but it almost ended up the cover of Ride.
Yeah,
which it should have. It would have, and when they should have, because it was just so. It should have because it's such an epic photo. Yeah. And the one that they ended up
Plus
using,
you would have taken over Hoffman or something as most Ride covers probably with that one.
How many does he have?
I don't know. You guys are close, so
really?
I think we did a count at some point, and it was
Ride covers.
Yeah, you, Van, Doyle, and I think
Gary's got to be up there too.
And Mira. Well, Gary's had a couple, but Mira, they were the
5 or 6 or something.
Top 3, yeah. So I think you were top 3 with Mira and Hoffman.
Yeah,
so
that's right.
But yeah. So
I've never had a dig cover though.
Really?
Never. It's the only one I've never had.
Maybe one day you got a dig. Should we mention the dig? Should we mention the dig project?
I'm pretty sure that I'm never going to have a dig cover.
They only
have one. They have 1 or 2 books a year, and they're badass.
Yeah, and if they're putting me on the cover, they are having a serious shortage of content issue.
Well, technically, Galactic Seabass got the cover of the new one. So
I don't even know who that is.
Yeah.
Oh, really? The dude from San Diego.
Yeah.
Riding over Augie's car in the gym. That's an epic photo.
Yeah, it's an epic photo. Have you seen the cover?
No.
It's just Augie, Simon Seating had a jam and they set a car on fire. in LA.
Apparently,
oh, you're allowed to do that now. You're allowed to have fire in photos.
Actually, 100%.
Okay,
they lit a car on fire, lit a telephone pole on fire.
That took me like 1 second. I with you, and there's oh yeah, I know what he's saying.
You're allowed that. You're allowed, okay.
Another thing,
fire.
Another thing. You've lit yourself on fire for video parts. You're like you're borderline like you've done all this crazy shit, but you've like kind of dabbled into like stunts a little bit too before your actual stuntman career.
I always wanted to be a stunt guy,
even
being
I was
doing
pro
stunts,
rider and everything.
I did stunts in high school, so I'd always wanted it. But it
what
was
do you
always
mean you did stunts in high school? There was a stunt class or something?
No. I meant like I was doing commercials and things like that.
Oh, okay.
Since high school, but I here and there, but it always took backseat to bike riding.
Yeah.
And now looking back, I probably should have had bike riding take backseat to stunts, but not really. But
but living in LA, that's pretty crazy.
Yeah, that's always what I wanted to do. So for me, it always seemed normal, and all that stuff for Forward, all that snow and fire was actually for this short film we had made.
Like the clips at Big Bear?
It wasn't even supposed to be in your part?
No, it wasn't even supposed to be in Forward.
Those are so sick.
It was for this short film we had made, and then we never finished with this company, and so I had to buy all this footage from them. So I had to come to like $8,000 at the time to buy all this content footage from them.
Oh, wow.
And then because I just didn't want it to go to waste. And so then I was like, well, let's just put it in there because it'll be, you know what I mean? Like it's footage. And
it's great footage.
But that footage just destroyed me as a bike rider for,
what do you mean?
For 15 years.
It's
different for you guys now.
Yeah.
You guys, nowadays.
I would think back then people would be more chill about it.
No, but nowadays, it'd be hard pressed to find a bike rider who doesn't have another sport or interest, right? That spend time at.
It'd be what?
Right? Like you'd be hard pressed to find another professional bike rider or somebody that doesn't have another interest.
They're into cars
or building stuff or surfing.
So back then it was like you have to just be a BMXer.
ride a bike. Like
Only BMX.
It was like I got a lot of grief for that. Like people don't like it. Like that's why I made the joke about the fire. Like it was, you just get murdered. Even the snow stuff I got murdered on, and then 5 years later there's a cover of UK Ride of a dude in a rail in the snow.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, yeah, and I'm like, yeah, cool, bro.
Yeah.
Wow, so you got a bunch of shit for this stuff that I always looked at. I was like, that's dope. He's riding. Yeah. You were riding rainbow rails in the snow.
Good thing you're pro now, because if you'd have liked that then, they would have hated you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what when you say like they would have hated you, like what sort of backlash? Like from other pros?
From other pros. To the point where even they allowed stuff in interviews of other pros to say about me that the people at the magazine knew weren't true.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. They'd be like, he's snowboarding every day. I'm like, I live in Southern California.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like,
could drive to Big Bear every day.
Yeah,
but that would be
And
absolutely insane.
They just, and plus I was just doing my own thing, so I don't think at some point in BMX, you had to do a certain thing and look a certain way. I mean, you got dissed if you had 4-piece bars.
Yeah.
Like it was like a sin-worthy trespass, and I just didn't fit there. So I guess, I don't know, my problem is maybe I never followed any trends. I mean, look at my bike now. My bike is the same as it was in 1995. Mm-hmm. So for me, it was just about bike riding, and I don't know why I would put huge bars on because that's what people decided rode better. These ones are fine for me.
That's cool. Never following the herd.
Well, it's not even following the herd. I just didn't make any sense to me. It's like,
you did what felt right to you.
Yeah.
What about at the time? At the time, did you regret putting that footage out? Or did you, or were you always like, this is my path, I'm okay with it, or did you regret it?
Well, once we had all that footage and I decided this is going to go into Forward, and then I was so, I worked really hard on Forward, right?
Thank you, by the way.
It's a great part.
I decided I wanted this video part to be like, no one's going to be able to make this video part in the next 10 years. I wanted to make a
first part and one of the best videos ever. So it shows a lot.
Thanks. So for me, I didn't hate it, but at the same time, it caused a lot of grief, where I almost quit riding.
Mm-hmm. Damn, getting so much shit from people.
Just because it starts not being fun. You know what I mean? It isn't like it's not like,
because you're like, I can't do this stuff, and that's cool to me, and people are going to hate on it.
Well, it's not that bike riding isn't fun. Like, it's not that I'm like, you have such thin skin you couldn't deal with it. It's just that for so many years you're like, this just isn't that. Dealing with it isn't fun anymore. You know what I mean? Like there was like this such negative stuff all the time, and I'm just like, and I was having fun doing everything else, and I'm like, why? And so, but at the same time, that video part is responsible for me being able to, like, once we got a decade past that, it is like everyone has seen it. Like I don't even mean like bike riders. I mean everyone has seen footage from that. And so it has been the foundation of what has got me most of my jobs or any other opportunities since since then.
Hell yeah.
For sure.
So I can't say it's bad or good. I just have to say this is the choice I made, and I'm glad I did it. But it definitely changed everything. But yes, I guess with that said, I don't want to say too much about a lot of that stuff because if you do get the new Dig book, apparently there is a ad in there. I do have a Dig is making a Dig and Peter Adams are making a documentary on on me.
So rad.
There's going to be a lot of info and footage no one's ever seen, and I'm super excited about it. And so that is supposed to be out later this year. We're working on it now.
That's awesome.
They've done some really good ones with Garrett.
Yeah.
And who was the other one? Jimmy Levan.
Jimmy.
People haven't seen those. Those are so great.
So I mean, Dig didn't do that, but
did they not?
No,
that one was props. That one was amazing.
But I mean, I've seen the first rough cut, and so it's got a long ways to go. But it's weird watching your life.
Oh, I'm sure.
20 years of your life go by in an hour.
And you think they did a good job of it?
I mean, we definitely have. Now we can see the story of it and where it goes, but it's just two things. One thing, every time I see stuff, there's a lot of crashes of me everywhere, and I'm like, fuck, did I ever pull anything?
Yeah.
And then there's another one, you see it, and you see like all your best footage condensed into like a 10-minute section. You're like, oh my God. I'm the best bike rider alive, but but it's not that. But you know what I mean.
But you're happy with it.
But yeah, I mean, if you put all your some point someone will put all your gnarliest footage together in an hour thing, and you're gonna be like, dude.
And it will be an hour long.
It will be an hour long of just bangers.
Yeah,
maybe got like 35 minutes, but you definitely have an hour.
Corey will have 35 days of footage.
Yeah, right.
He might have the most footage of anybody
most
in the world.
prolific video part writer.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, between the two of you guys, we just need Sherbo over there, and it's like the most video parts ever, in BMX, basically. So
I think.
I mean, Martinez.
You have a lot. You have a lot of video. I don't have that many video parts. You have a ton.
I think Dakota too might be
Dakota.
Dakota.
I got
clip count.
But I can't.
But dude, you've had extra 10 years than him too.
Yeah.
But you also you have to. I think at this point you have to distinguish clips are not a video part. I mean like a real project. Instagrams doesn't count.
Yeah. No,
you know what I mean? Like a real project. Now, I think people have a thing now where proving that you rode this week is more important than what you're putting out. You know what I mean?
It's definitely. I feel like sometimes it comes to that.
It's just like, I just got to put something up to show people. It's like, and I don't think pros realize you stop doing that. Like some of my favorite riders to watch, I have to mute their Instagram now because I'm starting to not to like them.
Yeah.
Not that I don't like them. I want to be excited about what I see, and it's too much.
So there's
great.
There's that guy on Instagram, Shitsonian Casey.
Yeah.
He has his own
podcast.
Own podcast.
Yeah, dude.
Pretty. Right? Yeah, dude, sick. So he talks about that pretty often. How he loves Chase Hawk, but he had to stop following him because he felt like it was ruining Chase Hawk.
It's ruining the magic.
It was getting his idea.
Yeah, he was getting it delivered so often that he was like, it's just kind of like taking him down a notch, and I don't want to take him down a notch. I want to keep him up there, and I only want to see the best shit, and so I have to unfollow him.
Which I don't.
And it's a very interesting concept of jading your audience.
We talk about that a lot here because you got dudes who kind of just putting out clips that aren't their best shit, but then you have Brad Sims and he's putting out video part clips
every day. I mean, Brad's a different because it's so good. I mean, Brad's the only
Chad
one
kind of is putting out clips that are like, oh my God, this is amazing. Like
Brad's the only one that I really see. Maybe I could have that. I don't say only one, but on a regular basis, that is using his skill set the way it should be used.
Yeah.
Like right now, I really believe that bike riders, the talent in bike riders is so high, and the creativity and quality of the clips is so low. There's no doubt about it that some sort of crazy bar spin, tail up to grind, whip to nose wheelie out, whatever it is amazing. But I'm not that impressed with it if your wheels are 2 inches off the ground. I'm just not. I don't care.
Yeah, it's different style, different entertainment.
But it's you have guys, like if I could bunny hop the height that the dude's bunny hop now, I would only grind things that divided property lines. Do you know what I mean? I would be doing shit that no one else could do, which is what Brad does. That's what Brad does.
Taking his ability to be like that.
Yeah. And it's amazing to watch. But a lot of those dudes are capable of that. I mean, and when I say the talent is so high, but the count of riders that view their environment differently is lower.
True.
So like a Corey Walsh, no one can doubt how great he is, right? But what makes him great is the way he views his environment. which then alters and changes everything on how he does it. If someone else had the same, there's other riders who have the same skill, but they don't look the same because they don't look at their environment the same. And I just feel like that has gone down. And this idea of like, this is creative. Everyone wants to try to be so creative, and they don't realize in being creative, they're literally doing nothing. Like, yes. I think, I don't know, someone guys put up a clip the other day of Guy, and I'm like, how is this a clip? This is like something you do. I don't know who it was, and I don't want to bum anybody out because I'm not trying to, but I just think we've gotten into this trend where like someone did some sort of dumb shit, and you're like, everyone's guilty of putting it up, and you're like, this isn't really a clip. This is what you do goofing around at the spot while your buddy is filming a clip.
Was it don't punch Corey? Was it the
he doesn't want to say
was it just the bunny hop like peg chink over the tracks or no?
No, it was like some
that was impressive.
I don't know. I didn't see it, but
well, so like I mean, like so Rooftop has texted me. Like when we posted something, he texts me and he goes, "Hey, is this good?"
No, this is
great. And that's a real question,
and he's being genuine.
A question from one of the best riders from the high school generation that literally is like, "What the fuck is this?" You know,
I am not in any denial on where I stand in my abilities of riding and where I fit into the industry now. Yeah. Like I'm out.
Yeah.
You know, like I do my I ride bikes. I love riding my bike, but it's for me, right? I'm not trying to impress anybody, but I'm not trying to be embarrassed either. But, but I don't follow it like I would if I was in it every day because I have other things I'm doing with my life. And so it's changed so much that I don't, and I'm guilty of this before where I'll just diss something, you know what I mean? Because I don't understand it, but I've been trying to lately understand where that trend has gone. And so when I see something, I don't just go, "Oh, this is dumb." I can go like, "Oh, well, I get it."
You hit up Fudger to be like, "What's up with this?"
I was just like, "What is it? Is this what is cool now?" Because if this is what is cool, then I'm pro again.
Yeah.
He told me that too before we've had conversations.
Sometimes we'll see stuff and I'm going to throw Enzo under the bus. Enzo will sometimes send me a post and he goes, "Fuck, we're top pros again."
I can still see that.
Well, like, funny. I mean, I know Yumi's been brought up, and sometimes it's just his like it's the smallest little nuance thing that just like separates it, and it goes like, oh, that was like my policy generally with posting Instagram stuff. If I go, oh, that was cool, and I'm like, all right, that's probably worth a post. You know, like at a point, like obviously that can fail me. I've seen
a few of those posts.
Yeah, exactly.
Just kidding.
So,
but I think too. Also, you and Z are a little bit more like you're fans of everything, but you guys like jibby stuff though too. Is like what you guys both seem to.
We have to kind of cater towards everything for your platform.
Yeah, I mean, I would say like Justin Benthian is more jibby, more into the jibby.
Posting the jibby stuff. Nothing against it. It just seems like that gets posted a lot.
Yeah.
But I mean, there is a thing to that though. Like
it's cool.
I can't say specifically. Like we go through the post obviously and be like, I posted that one. Mm-hmm. But yeah, like if there's anything at a skate park or somebody doing a couple of tail whips or something, that's probably me posting it because my riding itself is more on the jibby kind of like no trick stuff, but I do enjoy everything. So I post more of the park stuff, and then those dudes post more of like kind of the combo stuff. And if there's like some fucking 180 Smith full cab drop nose like thing, I'm like, is this good? I'll just send it to the group message and be like, is this good? Mm-hmm. Like literally, like
I have no idea
because I don't know. I don't necessarily at a point. I don't know either anymore.
Yeah, it's been tough. It's for sure.
Here's a great example, Corey. And I'm gonna put you on the spot.
Oh gosh.
All right, here we go. So some of these tricks they're doing are so hard. Like they're so far out of my league that I could never do them. Right. But I feel like they're posting clips on the thing that you would learn them on. Right. So like I feel like you would learn a trick on something smaller when you learned it, and then you would go do it on something legit for a video part.
Yeah.
I feel like that process, not for everybody, but for a huge portion is gone.
I think that's what we grew up on, though.
Yeah,
too, because we didn't have the opportunity to post something right away, instantly. So we would learn it, And then we'd wait till we actually had our buddy that had a real camera to come film it, and then by that point we'd perfected it and wanted to take it to a new ground, something different. Or
but it never goes to the new ground, is what I'm saying.
Well, it's different because a lot of
there's a few.
And I'm not saying everybody. I'm saying
because Garrett.
Dude, I'm in the mix with going on trips with different people all the time, and it's people are doing it. You just don't see those people because those are the ones making the good video parts and the ones mastering what they really want to do. And you're seeing just the people who don't understand the process, and that's
until
hurting them.
Out.
It does hurt people.
It hurts them. And my other thing that is, I think,
for your video part, but it doesn't hurt you on your Instagram life.
That's
where it's like, woo,
yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, I guess it depends. I guess
what you're going to talk about more. It doesn't hurt.
I do believe that BMX is in a weird thing that was very different when I was growing up, or you guys suffer from it, or not suffer, but you guys are affected by it, is you could work on something. Let's say Rockstar, right? Rockstar pays $10,000 for you guys to go on a trip, right? Or $15,000. Puts $15,000 into BMX if you guys make an edit, right? And you guys put it up on ourbmx or Dig, because there's no magazine anymore, right? And physical magazine. And
no monthly magazine.
Yeah. So that's what Rockstar is paying for, right? To get up on there.
Mm-hmm.
But it can be pushed off by a nibble from some other kid, or let's say just use Yumi, some nibble from Yumi, which may be cool, but isn't on the same level as your guys' as maybe the Rockstar trip, with all the riders. But it now puts you guys even.
Yeah, but I mean,
no, it does. Hold on, it devalues what you're doing.
Because now, like what he's doing, though.
No, I don't mean by the kids. I'm talking about Rockstar. Yeah. Rockstar says, why do we need to put this money into all these riders when we could just sponsor someone with drinks and get the same amount of coverage? This has nothing to do with like it or not like it. This has to do with what does it do for the industry itself? Like, why would all these brands keep... Or at some point, they're going to realize, I don't need to do this anymore.
Or it's not necessarily them versus Yumi.
No, it's not them. I was just using it.
It'll be like, hey, we don't need to do a trip anymore.
We don't need... Yeah.
You guys just...
I shouldn't have used Yumi. So that was bad.
Well, that's like if you're into marketing and understand it, you make your video, it gets 100,000 views, you do a mic'd up with Tom Dugan, that gets 1 million views. Yeah. And then you have all this social media content for 2 months until you do your next trip. And that just keeps boom, boom,
but
boom, boom, boom,
imagine if you don't
boom,
spend any money doing it and get the same amount of views.
Yeah.
Well... You would, because you'd have to pay Yumi or whoever you want to post your videos.
But you don't. Yeah. You don't.
Yeah, I mean...
You don't need to. They're going to do it for you.
Yeah. So
what do you mean?
They're going to post whatever they think is cool.
Sometimes it's a race.
Yeah, but they're not going to put a Rockstar logo on it or whatever company it is.
There's still examples.
They could just be giving some kid Rockstars and he getting 1 million views but not paying him anything. Or
the kids getting 1 million views, they're going to be like, give me some money.
You don't need to anymore, I promise you that.
What kid is getting 1 million views that's not asking for a little money?
What I'm saying is,
there's a kid on the cult, little Juice, whatever.
Yeah.
He had that viral whip.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure he didn't get money from that.
Yeah, but if he kept going, he would have. If he kept getting more than just one viral video in his life, one viral video.
You see him
now,
like, he's Big Juice.
Big Juice.
He's small. He's small Juice.
Yeah.
I think that at some point there needs to be a distinction so that
shout out the Juice,
so that people continue to put money into bike riding.
No, I mean he has a point though.
It's a great point
because just from a marketing standpoint, if you like your goal is to like, hey, I want to get some outside of your guys' coverage, and then that coverage gets bumped by not anything necessarily. You're sitting there like, all right, did I spend my money well there?
But now brands that are smart that have a good marketing guy are doing not just making this one video. They're going to make this video, break it up into 1 million different pieces. The video on YouTube keeps getting plays, and then they have content for each one of the riders to post.
But you know how it goes with larger brands, like not necessarily Rockstar, but like larger brands that don't necessarily do it right.
If you're not doing it right nowadays, that's what the fuck? It's 2020. Like it's pretty.
For sure.
I don't have a marketing degree, and I understand.
At some point, somebody's going to come to you in your careers and go, hey, we don't need to pay you $8,000 a month. We're going to pay 8 dudes $300 a month.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And we're going to get 3 times the coverage because they're getting the same. They're allowed to have the same voice as you have.
And that's what's been happening in BMX over and over again forever.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Right.
There was
a race to the bottom.
A very, very recent story of a rider shutting down a energy drink sponsor because the money wasn't what he felt it should be, which I thought I'm not going to say who it was or which company.
Remember that time Gary Young shut down that Red Bull just because he said I don't drink it?
Yeah, he didn't like bubbles.
Same opportunity for me. I ended up getting it.
Yeah, exactly. Then, shout out
That's
to
going
Gary.
on your podcast.
I'll save that one for you later.
Those are good stories.
I don't like bubbles.
Yeah. Yeah, so he felt like the dollar amount was too low, and they didn't come to an agreement. I'll tell you afterwards.
I mean, it's
getting paid to ride a bike in general is pretty fucking
awesome.
crazy.
You know, it's
cool.
cool. Like, it's like that
give
they
or take
had
what
that
it is.
power to say no in 2020 because it's not like there's another energy drink company going like, oh, I'll take you up.
One,
you
I think it all
like,
just depends on who that rider is whether how cool it is.
Of course, yeah.
If it was warranted or not, you know.
Yeah. So
I think it's really tough because I know sometimes some of the things I say make it sound like I don't like things, but it just
they're great points.
When you spend 30, like I've spent more than 2/3 of my life as a professional bike rider.
Yeah.
Right.
Wow.
And that or riding bikes, right? So it is so ingrained in who I am, and you watch a lot of people build this thing, right? And then you see things happen where you're like, oh, you're watching, and you've been through a bunch of ups and downs, right? You've seen the industry, and then you watch it, and you can see the tick where it's starting to tick down, and you try to tell people like, hey, it's coming. You know what I mean? And no one, you're like, now it's fine. You're like, okay, well, it's going to come. It'll go back up, but you might not be back up when it comes back up. Sometimes it's hard for me to decipher, like, how much does it fucking even matter? Do I care? Or do I just, like, love this thing so much that it feels like I almost feel, not possession over it, but like...
you're invested.
Yeah, you're so invested on this idea, but, you know, and sometimes I'll be very invested and have an opinion, and sometimes I have to, like, reel it back and go, like, I don't care.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Mm-hmm. And so that's what has brought me to where I'm at now, which started about 8 years ago, where I had to let go of any ego that had to do with bike riding with me to someone else, right? The ego can still happen in me a little bit, and it's really made bike riding really fun. You know, like cool. I've just like at some time around right after that, I'd had a United edit come out, that one that had the S rail.
That was an amazing part too.
So after that, I just was like, okay, I'm gonna let it go. You know, and I kind of that was gonna be my last.
That was
video.
your retirement.
That was my last video part. because we used that Painted Black song to sort of bookend it, and then the Caveman edit came out in 2016. And that was, I didn't plan on that. I just had seen all these spots, and I'm like, I just want to film, and I had nothing to do.
I know where that song's from. What is it? Anthony Perrin, he won Nora Cup with that
Federal?
Song. Yep, it's Federal part.
Oh, shit, sorry.
So that was a pretty heavy song, Jack. All right, sorry. Just like, where is that song from?
We're talking about something
sorry,
else.
back on track. I can't believe it just came to me randomly like that. 30 minutes later.
So, yeah, I made that video part, but it was like, I get inside my head where I'm like, I guess I got to do this now. It was supposed to be like a minute, and then it ends up being like 5 minutes.
Or you're just sitting around waiting for somebody else to touch the spots, and you're like, all right, you pussies.
Well, no, because like I said, I have to I've also changed how I have to think about riding because I really cannot afford to get hurt riding bikes.
Yeah.
Like I don't make a living riding bikes, so I really cannot get hurt. So I have to make a decision on what I'm riding and if it's worth it. And I also have to just, and my body also, like my knees, especially filming this last little colorway edit that came out, I guess now at this point last week. My knees so bad that it's like I ride for a day or 2 days and I have to take a week off.
Yeah.
So the idea of trying to film an actual part would take a year,
you
know, but it's, so ego has dropped out of the equation for me, which has changed how I see bike riding, which is why I asked Fudger things like, is this what's cool?
And your way of looking at riding now is so inspirational to other dudes that are from your generation that, you know.
Old is what you're saying?
No, you're early 40s, motherfucker. And you were like, you've done some of the craziest shit and all you got is a bad knee out of it. Like you're super healthy and you can just ride now. Ride good and film a colorway for one of your sponsors, and you're like loving riding. Because that's one thing we were talking about the other day. It sucks when you see like dudes, you know, they get into their 40s or whatever, and it's like, I don't ride anymore. Like you see them ride and they're just like, I don't, you know, they just don't look like they have the love for it anymore. And it's so cool to, I don't know, I want to be 40, 50, still just loving riding, even if I'm not like pushing myself.
Straight up.
It's coming for you, right, Corey? Pretty soon.
It'll be there for all of us.
Love it.
This guy.
I mean, I like bikes more now than I did 15 years ago.
Amazing.
And I mean,
Because I bet probably at the end of your career, when you're like still like wanting to produce, but the kids are getting really good, that's probably a weird.
It's not
a hard weird phase.
100%. I don't think it's that. I never looked at it as like, oh, these kids are getting good. That wasn't it. Because I always felt like I just did what I did, and it didn't matter what anybody else was doing.
Lane.
I was just in my own lane, right?
You were.
And so, but the hard part is your brain wants to do certain things, and your heart wants to do it, but your brain's telling you like you got to stop. There must be a part of you, Dennis, at this point that goes, I can't keep doing what I'm doing forever, because it's only going to be 1 or 2 bad slams, and you're going to be like, oh, I can't, I don't want to do this anymore. Not that you don't want to do the trick, but you're like, at some point you're going to crack, you're going to get hurt, and you're going to be like, I am going to be hurt now for 8 months. I maybe have 10, 15, 12 years of riding left. If I spend if I'm doing things that I could be out for 8 months every year, I'm not going to ride my bike at all.
I had those thoughts when I was about like 20.
Yeah, so and then but you'll go through them your whole career. But you'll go through them your whole career. Like anything, you'll have years where you're on it, and then years where you're like, oh God.
Yeah,
and you're back again.
Injuries or head fucks.
Yeah, and then you're back again. Yeah. And so do you have 6 knee surgeries?
Health is key.
Man.
Consistency and health. But those injuries get right in the way and make you fucked in your head.
I think the biggest thing for when you say get to the end of your career isn't about like, oh, these guys are so good, what am I going to do? I'm not worth it. It's who am I? If I'm not Mike Escamilla, who rides bikes,
BMX,
who am I? Because I have now spent most of my life being this person.
Yeah.
And I think that is
that felt funny.
I think identity crisis is a huge part of a lot of people, pros that get out of it and then don't know, what to do or who they are even.
You have to transfer your love somewhere else.
Yeah, you really have to find you have to find some people lucky, but a lot of people don't get out of it, and they just a
lot of people seem to kind of lose it over that ego, like,
or just over like it's just an identity. Imagine you're one thing your whole life, and then all of a sudden you're not allowed to be that thing anymore.
And ego and identity are obviously pretty intertwined.
Yeah. I mean, even with letting go of the ego of bike riding, the identity is still really hard sometimes. Because
that's weird though, because like no matter what, wherever you show up, you did all this stuff. You're still Rooftop. Everybody's
it's not that. I don't care if anyone thinks I'm that. It's what I like.
You want to be still another video part to be happy with.
It's not even the video part. It's I don't really know how to explain it. I mean,
what was the process like when let's talk about the beginning and the end in the sense of like, hey Mike, hey Mr. Escamilla, we're not going to renew your contract.
Oh well, no, it wasn't. It wasn't my end. My end of the road wasn't like you're not going to renew a contract.
Yeah.
Because
you don't consider. I mean, you've already said it, but you don't consider yourself a professional bike rider anymore.
No, because I think it is disrespectful to people like you and real pros. And this is why. I don't agree. But this is why. Hold on. It's because I have such a high respect of people who are professional bike riders and work so hard to really be that putting myself on the same level as you currently seems disrespectful because I don't put any of that work in. Mm-hmm. That's why. That's not, and I'm not saying.
And but if you were in the
level of work, people
are like how you're looking at it.
Like if someone could be like, oh, well, look at how great you are at bike riding. You're a professional bike rider. I'm like, well, yeah. I'm like, when like someone says like how like, oh, you're like so good. I'm like, well, yeah, I'm like the best dude you know. You know what I mean? Like,
but let's say if you were in the van all the time making video parts with us, would you be like, okay, like I'm putting the work in?
If I was doing that, yeah, but I'm not.
I like how you look at that.
Yeah, so I'm not. And also
there's a point where you step down and let the other kids get the money.
Yeah, I mean, Ian,
if you're not putting the work in anymore.
That's the Mexican.
Ian has tried to with United has offered me money to do things and do things, and I'm just always like, dude, don't give me $1. I don't even like to take video part. I don't even like to take bike parts. If you see my bike, it's always a mess. It's like I take the least amount of shit ever.
That's cool.
Because I'm like, I just give it just give it to someone else.
Yeah.
Because if he can, if he's going to give me 4 seats, just flow 3 of them to someone else. I'll run the same seat for 4 years.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Yeah.
Clearly, look at my bike. But I have such a high respect and regard for you guys who are really doing it that the idea to just say I'm a professional bike rider feels disrespectful.
Oh, I like that mentality because like a lot of people wouldn't look at it. For me, I'm looking at it like, dude, you should be out there because it motivates a whole different group of people. But I like how you're thinking about it. If you're not putting that work in like the other pros, then why should you still be taking the coin? And I do see a lot of pros like that where they're still taking the coin, but then there's this new kid coming up. You're like, that motherfucker, he's not even sponsored and he's putting so much work because a few of these people are just still like
I mean, 2021 will be the first year in 27 years that I don't get paid to be a bike rider.
Who was the last sponsor?
GoPro.
Wow.
So they finally, I think with this last thing, they're going to, I think, from what I understand, that I'm not sure if I'm off GoPro, but I'm no longer getting paid, which just means they have no bike riders.
That's
Nigel.
cool
And
though.
I'm the oldest.
Nigel was on
for like a year.
GoPro's a cool one for you to keep because it's not taking from anyone else. Like,
no,
you know,
I'm the oldest. I'm the longest athlete.
Everything that he does.
I'm the longest athlete on GoPro.
Wow.
First athlete they gave.
First
stuff to.
athlete and one of the last. Because
so-
GoPro's kind of going under because the damn phones are dope.
I
now.
mean, they're not going under, but it just their business has
the
changed.
bubble
Changed.
is
It's just changed.
They
you
got to
know?
figure something.
they had a few years where they were the one, and now it's like, iPhone's taking over.
So what? So wow. So I guess
27 years.
27 years.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's
I don't know
not
who
big.
else is longer. Maybe Dennis McCoy.
I say Dennis
Rick Thorne.
is still there.
Yeah.
Rick Thorne. Dennis
Rick's
McCoy.
still getting checks from Boost.
And
And
vape
Monster.
company.
Monster, yeah.
You know,
And he writes for a vape company.
I don't think he
You
does
said
anymore,
that
but
like 2
yeah.
or 3 times.
Vape company.
Hey, Dennis wants a vape
We should
sponsor.
honestly get Rick Thorne on the podcast.
Yeah,
Because
that would be
great.
Our
Fuck yeah, we should.
history
Next
is
time
so
you should
is
roll out, I
so
would love to
tattered.
hear it.
Yeah,
We'll
yeah.
go to Mexico.
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
That'd be fun.
It's all right.
Um,
But one more thing. The other thing about being
I
how
feel like you haven't even answered my question yet. When did you stop calling yourself a professional bike rider?
sometime after that, around 2012, when I did that that Welcome United team, and I don't know if
The
I
welcome team.
yeah, no, Welcome to United.
I dropped my welcome part. That was the last of it.
Yeah, I mean,
At the end, it just says goodbye.
goodbye, yeah.
Rich Ford, welcome to Federal.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
And I think it was like I think it was a slow thing from there to
Yeah.
about 2015.
Okay.
Where because I was also doing TV shows, and I was doing a lot of stunts, and that became the bulk of my income as well.
Mhm.
And I just, it took a little bit longer. It wasn't like other people who were like, hey, you just lost all your sponsors, now you work at Denny's.
Yeah.
So and I have been lucky enough, based on why people didn't like it before, that I took time to show interest and learn other skills so that I wasn't just completely screwed.
Yeah.
I'm still a little screwed, but not completely screwed when that all ended. And so it wasn't like it was a little bit longer of a transition, but it's still every day. So there's days I wake up and I'm like right now in this pandemic, I've worked one day since February as a stuntman. And that is what I call that's my job. So, there's days I wake up that I'm like, I can't get a job being a stuntman. I'm not a bike rider. Who am I? Because that's just all I've been my whole life.
Because when we were texting, I think in like March or something, you were like, "If I don't get a job by June, I'm fucked."
Yeah, and then I did do a project in June that was a little bit of money for a few months. But we actually
podcast show?
Yeah, I had started a podcast, and then El Rey Network, we actually turned it into a full TV show, like a full talk show.
Yeah, it was
and
cool.
it was super low budget, and we pulled off. It was amazing what we pulled off, but it was like a project that lasted about 2.5 months, and I made a little bit of money that got me a few months. But I don't consider that as my job, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like here's the other thing that I decided, and I think that was what gave me or pushed me to be like, I'm done, is I feel like I'm good enough at a bike rider and enough followers or whatever that I can always get some little bit of a sponsor, right?
Yeah.
I can always probably like make enough money to barely survive. And you look at it like this, well, I can ride my bike as much as I want and I can get by, which sounds great, but I'm 43 years old, I have a family. Like at some point there is going to be a hard cut and then I'm going to be screwed. So I had to tell myself there's no more trying to get sponsors.
Mm-hmm.
If someone wants to come sponsor me under my conditions and terms, cool. But there's no more trying to get sponsor that is going to take up time for me to move on to the next chapter of my life.
Mm-hmm.
Because BMX it sucks you back in and it's hard to get out.
Because you love it.
Because you love it, you know?
Totally.
And so I had to stop doing that. Because like there's times when I have a few friends like, oh, you got they sent you some stuff, you should get paid. And I'm like, no, I can't even start that conversation.
Mm-hmm.
I've called a couple companies to get some stuff. I was like, hey, any chance I might be able to get hooked up with this? I'll do whatever you want. And then, well, do you want to get paid? And I'm like, no, I do not want to get paid because
Getting paid comes with work.
with responsibilities,
Always does,
And so unless it's some outrageous amount of money, which is never going to happen, if someone's going to like, oh, we'll give you $500 a month. You'll get $500 a month from 5 companies. I'm like, can't. That doesn't even pay rent. I can't.
Yeah.
And then it takes, because I've always been someone who's tries to not just take stuff. I try to, make it worth their while. And that just requires too much effort. So I had to stop doing that. I had to just cold turkey go, nope. Like it is what it is. And that's just what it is.
So after you made that decision, was there a hard point with, your identity and stuff like that? Like, what was that process of like, all right, I'm no longer a bike rider or a professional bike rider, and I mean,
luckily I had other things that I did. Like,
so did you just pour into that stuff?
I did it. Yeah. I the really hard time was right around the time I made that decision. I just happened to get Guardians of the Galaxy 2 at that point. So I was gone for 4 months working every day. And so that sucks up their time, which when you don't have time to dwell on things, and you know what I mean? It's easier, but I'll be honest with you, I struggle with it every day, man.
So you're a stunt man for that?
Yeah. And so.
Did you do that all in LA?
No, it was all filmed in Georgia.
I was going to say Nebraska.
You got hit me up.
Yeah, I was in I had like 3 hours of prosthetics.
He was
every
blue.
Day. Yeah, I was blue, and one of them I think was blue. I played 4 different aliens, and I die probably 30 times in that movie.
Oh, wow.
But I
wake
up every day. Every day I wake up, and I still have that because I love bike riding.
Yeah,
and I know that it's the bike riding the bike riding that I want to. The other thing is people, because I put this video thing out, this little edit, and even when you ask me what should I write under it, video part, I'm like no, because video parts mean so much to me. I just put just a colorway edit. I'm like, that cannot be a representation. That does not go in the catalog of Rooftop parts.
Yeah.
Because I will never be able to ride my bike enough to have enough confidence to be able to do the things that I would like to do to call it apart. Yeah. So I just have to go, this is me riding. This is, I try to make it more of a, hey, when I go ride, this is what I do.
And honestly, that's why I texted you that, because I wrote that paragraph out and I was like, I'm a check, like I texted it to him and he's like, nope. Colorway edit, and I'm like, that sounds kind of weird, but I'm gonna put it in there because I get it.
It does sound weird, but
I get
like
it.
the idea of it.
Yeah, it's like, hey, this is an edit. Yeah, it's not
part.
like.
I love the way you think about everything from stepping away from being pro to video parts. Like you do it, it's so legit.
I find myself doing that, just calling things edits. If it's anything on Instagram or online, so I don't even say parts. You know what I mean? No. Except for a Nathan Williams part or Dennis Henderson. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like a real thing.
That's an actual part.
You do the same thing. Look at that part you just put out. Like that's a part. But if you had like a 2-minute stuff, just like a couple trips you went on, you're like, that's not a part.
I know. I love what you're saying. That's perfect. Yeah. Edits and parts are different.
Yeah. And that goes back to sort of what's going on with Instagram now is when I said people just want to put clips up just to show that they've been riding. I also believe right now we are in a weird state because of the internet. This is no one's fault, just because of the evolution of how people ingest their media, is every spot is a spot. It ain't, guys. And we don't need to see anything from it. Just because you can do a trick someplace doesn't make it a spot. Like you are selling yourself short. You know what I mean?
Corey.
No, I disagree a little bit. Well, because you can turn any type.
He posted a clip on a bench today, literally just.
Well, but you know what I'm talking about. When you're like, there's difference. You're like, oh, I'm going to goof around and have some sort of fun, cool clip. Clearly, I'm going to do all these weird tricks on a bench. Like I know Brad Sims, close to Brad Pitt.
Yeah.
Brad Sims had some stuff where he was doing like tail tapping a bench and doing wild shit out of it. Right? That's different because that's like clearly that's something special. You're not just showing like, hey, I'm. And wild dude. Yeah. But I meant like dudes you're just like, hey, we're in a parking lot and there's a ledge over there, it's a foot tall, so I'm gonna do this, nose move. Like you could do that anywhere. Like drive your ass around and find something where it looks cool. We're doing I think people have forgotten.
It's like
when they make video parts, it's Flatland.
Probably some haven't forgotten. It's like, some just haven't learned yet. Or that's what they're exposed to already.
Well, I mean,
it would
like you son of a bitch. Corey has forgotten that. Well, for me, when you're making a video part, there's 3 pieces to it, right? There's you're a character in that. There's the trick you're doing, that's a character, and the spot is a character, right? So like you're making a movie, like every single thing you would imagine if they made a movie and every movie was shot in a room with gray walls. You'd be like, this sucks.
I was literally about to ask, have you ever like painted a wall at a spot? Like a different color or something?
I painted coping. I haven't painted a wall, but we've definitely changed colors of things because they look terrible.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Or like at least, if you're filming, when we're filming parts, I always bring a few different color T-shirts because like you get lost in the background and it'll entirely change the whole part.
You're still a pro.
Yeah.
That's a pro move.
So there was a... Oh, go ahead.
What you're saying is like, it's so true. How you're looking at things with the video part, but the only defense to some people right now is with Instagram, there's like, and just being able to film things really fast. Some people aren't good at filming video parts. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like totally. Their riding actually like suits Instagram or quick edits better. And some people are video part masters, and I think a lot of people, what you're saying is just they haven't really like understood what their riding is perfect for, because there's so many different outlets, and some people are good at all of it, you know. But
I'm not trying to diss them. I just think that
what you're saying is
like
amazing.
you will remember you will, like, to me, as far as no offense, Corey.
Stuff.
No offense, Corey. No offense, Corey. No, just because I even see you guys I see you guys as two different generations anyways, and I only say that because we've ridden together a lot more, and we are on different levels of trips, right? Like
me and I was on trips with you when you were like
so
at the end.
So I sort of, you're closer to my generation than he is, even though you guys probably feel like the same generation.
Yeah,
so
we've been in the
not
same
just
thing
for me
a while.
though.
For a minute, yeah.
So you, to me, are the last great bike rider. You're the last.
Thank you, but this is crazy.
But you're the last one that's like, you're gonna be a Matt Hoffman and a Miron and a Mira. You're the last one that's gonna last forever.
I think there's a lot more, but
no, I'm not saying there's not amazing bike riders. This has nothing to do with skill level, but you're the to me, at least for me, where I will pay attention to it. You're the last of the, like, what they used to call super pros.
The elites.
The elites, because. Because you can ride everything, you can do everything at a level. You can do everything. Where a lot of guys, because they grew up in this different kind of world, like you're saying, this is what they're just used to, media and the way Instagram. They will never ever be remembered because their clips disappear in 24 hours, and you never think about them again.
And this is going to be hard.
I could just go off right now and name a million people.
Well, this is going to be hard. This is going to be hard for Dennis to hear, but.
Nathan Williams.
No. Well, of course.
But Nathan Williams
Boyd Hilder.
Nathan's older than you.
Nathan's older than you. Nathan to me.
Brad right now. Brad Sims.
But he's older though. He's older.
Now kind of doing it.
Brad is doing Instagram, and he's blowing up.
But he's doing it a different way.
Now.
But isn't he?
He's in his own way.
He's in his own way.
To Mike's point, I'm sorry to embarrass you, but
Garrett.
Yeah, but they're
the elites.
They're the elites. They're part of it. They're part of it.
I see exactly.
They're part of it. You're talking about dudes who are already in that same level as you.
So you don't think there's going to be new kids coming up?
There'll be new kids, but they won't be. There will be. But
there will be.
I was saying the other day, there's going to be a
mutant.
There's going to be a mutant come that can do everything. Can do Dennis's trick. Can do Garrett's tricks. Can do.
There is.
You know,
there always is. Every
tricks.
But I'm saying because of the way the media is now,
look at
it
Tyler
will be looked at
different. Once he gets healthy, that's the fucking mutant right there. That kid is like one of the best all around.
He can do it.
I mean, I personally think Nathan Williams is who every rider should try to be like.
Yeah,
because he's so good. Yeah. He's like, if you're like, who do I want to be? You're like, you'd emulate him, because some guys are just
Corey Walsh.
I put you in the
just naming people. I tell you, I'm gonna keep going.
But Corey Walsh is doing it though.
20 minutes down the line,
but Corey Walsh is doing what you're doing.
He will be at that level in 10 years' time. He's going to be
at that level.
Either way, I'm going to say, because I brought it up, because I to say it a couple times.
Let Budget prove I'm right.
Can I say something? So when we wanted to do an article when the mag was around, and basically like the modern day version of of Volker and DMC and Hoffman, everybody was like Dennis. Like when we hit them up, we're like, hey, who do you think is like the modern day version of you? Sorry, Dennis.
You're the
Volker, DMC, and Hoffman all chose you.
Wow, that's crazy.
And we're like, okay, well, we can't do this article. Like this.
That's really crazy.
I would almost go out on a limb.
5 years ago or 6 years ago too. So
and you're gonna fucking hate this.
Yeah.
I would go out on a limb because I know other people.
In the table of contents, I have to do this thing where it's like everybody compliments Dennis, and it's just like a portion.
I know we all got this text right before the game.
I'm like,
I would go out on a limb.
One of the nicest captions ever about me.
I did
that one in ride. That when I did a rail ride, I was like, I saved that because you wrote such a nice thing. I was like,
oh, I did. Like, is that like there was like you guys asked me to write captions for something?
It was the rail ride in Canto, and you just wrote something really nice. And I was like, fuck, man, I'll save that forever. Thank you. So we can end that. I read your caption.
Nobody ever.
I know. That's why I was like, damn.
What the fuck do you mean? I know.
You're an asshole. You're not at all, but a lot of people think you're an asshole.
I know, because they just don't have a sense of humor, and when you're on the cutting edge of comedy, it's hard for people to understand. What I was going to say was, and I think there's a lot of other pros in my generation that feel the same way. You are you might be the best bike rider ever to live.
No, I'm not.
I'm not even joking. Like if you think about all around overall, it's like.
Yeah, are you riding the ramp later today?
Yeah.
You should hang out.
I might.
Go check the session.
Gary told me he's like, you can't really ride there. You kind of just got to go watch.
Yeah.
Gary fucks to ramp up.
I'm watching
Gary. I would love to see Gary ride that place.
But I'm just saying, like,
if he doesn't fall into the curve wall.
If you had to pick the top 5 best bike riders to ever ride a bike,
Yeah.
You're in the top 5.
Sorry, Dennis.
Thanks.
Yeah.
You're in the top 5.
I don't
You
feel
might
that
be
way,
in the
'cause
top 3.
Way to go, bud.
Every single day I wake up, I just see somebody
Yeah.
that I'm like, fuck, I want to do that like
But that's
that.
why.
And wow, that's
But-
amazing.
But
I'm
that's
like,
why.
Well, that's just you.
Because
being
once
you
you
know what I mean.
once you
don't
think
compare, you don't
you're the
care.
best, then you have no room to get any better.
Yeah.
And that's why you're always getting better.
thanks for the nice compliments.
Yeah.
Rooftop.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Now,
all right,
now, Corey, here's how great you are.
Yeah, I know. We go off on Corey.
Get out of here.
How much money did you make off of Matt Hoffman's Pro BMX?
So we did. I think the contract deals were the first game we made. I may have this wrong, but I think this is right. I think the first game we made $10,000 to sign,
Mm-hmm.
and then once 500,000 games was made, we got a check for $5,000, and then every 250,000 games sold, we got
God.
2,500, I think.
Okay.
Damn.
So-
video games are so
And
bad.
then
I
the
remember
second
Seth getting that
game,
check.
Fuck.
the second game
Video
we got
games are
20 grand for the
so-
Oh,
signing,
wow. Okay.
and then the same
Same
deal.
breakdown.
And then
Just for being a character.
And then the third game, we got paid 25 grand for the signing, but then the game never came out.
Oh,
So you
shit.
still got the 25 grand.
Yeah. So I
Wait,
probably
there was
made
a third game that didn't come out?
Yeah, 'cause
Okay,
it's-
well, why didn't it come out?
just at that point, games weren't selling, and it cost more to develop a game than it is just to pay off the contract.
I feel like all the
Fuck.
cool action sports games stopped coming out because kids
Yeah.
like we're getting more into the first-hand shooting
Pew,
games.
pew, pew.
Yeah. Those took it all over.
I was a secret character.
There's like no good video games, like action sports games anymore.
No,
Yeah.
there should be. There was a secret character in Sean Palmer's Pro Snowboarder too, but I didn't make any money for that.
No. What? Okay, so you had the breakdown. So like, how much do you remember? How much?
I mean, I remember we
About
made
100
probably
grand for some
we
video
made
games.
a few checks. I
Over
bet you
time, yeah.
all of them together.
Yeah.
Because it was only a couple years. Like you figure the 3 checks, that's 25, 45, 55 just to sign over 40 years or something, whatever it was. And then we got those checks when for when they sold
Every quarter.
Yeah. And I bet there wasn't that many of those. So I bet you that's 65. I bet you made like 85 grand
Yeah.
maybe.
Damn.
Over like 6 years or something.
That's yeah.
No, it was great.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
those are the
awesome.
heydays,
Yeah.
like
And then
Glory years.
You buy houses and stuff from BMX?
no, I didn't buy it. I've never bought it. No, I never could buy it.
You
Because
spent that shit?
well, it's not even I spent it. I had a weird
Samurai swords.
I had a weird career where none of my sponsors lined up great. Like I would have like Etnies would be great, and then Hurley would be great, but then Etnies would get a pay cut. Like you'd always be living off. You know what I mean? Like you never made
Kind of similar to DMC. He's had that.
yeah, where you
think,
just like like I had a couple months where like I was had like 3 great sponsors, and I was like shit.
Here we go.
I'm gonna make like 180 grand this year or something.
Yeah.
But then everything it drops out, and like nope, I'm back down to like $100,000
burrito
less.
and
You
a
know what I mean?
sandwich, yeah.
And so and that like even if I was let's just say I was making an average of $80,000 a year back then. That may sound like a lot of people to most bike riders, money to less bike riders, but I also was taking care of an entire family. I got divorced.
Yeah, you have a family,
I got
right?
divorced at that time, and that cost me $250,000.
Oh my
in divorce.
God.
Everything I'd ever worked for.
Didn't you have some tax problems too?
I had tax problems because of that divorce. So
Yeah.
so then there was a time when I owed the government money every month to be on this payment plan, and if I
remember
missed it,
because I owed money to the
Yeah.
government too, and I remember we talked about this.
yeah,
This
like
is
if I
this is
missed
like
a payment,
80,
then you
yeah.
missed it all, and then
Yeah.
all the
Penalties.
Yeah.
and you can never get out from under it. So there was a time when I literally had to take every job.
Yeah.
Because
I remember
just
one
like-
time I came home when they're from school in high school, and you guys were building my the ramp Nike was building for the big party, and I was like, "What the hell?"
I worked in
you
your
helped
backyard?
build that ramp
I
with
didn't know
Wessel, and I was like, "I thought Rooftop was like a millionaire."
No,
you're back
no.
there like getting this job. I was like,
no,
what
I was
happened?
just-
What
I mean,
happened?
last week I took a job last week doing construction
Yeah,
because there's been no work.
Yeah.
The difference is I just do the job.
you don't remember helping with the ramp?
Nah,
You're doing a lot of shit back then. Probably.
I mean,
still
I just,
are doing a lot of shit.
Yeah, I mean, I don't remember shit.
Mhm.
But I just, you couldn't either complain about it or you just work. I never felt like I was a person where anything was beneath me. But also with those jobs, I get to go hang out with Wessel and
Yeah.
I see you, and I get to with Kimmler or whoever it was the job was with.
Yeah.
So and those are all the weirdest thing just to jump around. The weirdest thing about my career, about being older now, is all my best friends live all over the country, and so
Wow,
all
that's
these
a
people
trip.
I used to hang out with all the time, I'd see them on a monthly basis. I don't see anybody anymore. So
Yeah.
there's definitely a feel like, I don't have any friends, but you do. You just don't ever see them. So now, like last week, I took a job because I got to go hang out with 3 dudes, that I don't get to see anymore.
That's
What
cool.
was the job?
It was we just tore apart like a big stunt gym, like a parkour gym.
And it was with
Had a-
BMX friends?
It was Ron Kimmler
Oh, cool.
and Pova,
Rad.
and we all just did, Ron calls, hey, you guys want to make some money this week? And it's like,
make some money and hang out with some old friends.
yeah. And it wasn't, the way I see it is like because of what's going on with the pandemic, because I haven't worked. So I'm like, well, I can sit around in my house and make nothing today, or I can go hang out with friends and I'll be tired at the end of the day, but I get to laugh all day and I'll make a few bucks.
Yeah, no, that's cool.
So
I feel like that's like your mentality overall.
I like that.
You know, like I could be sitting here, or I could like go find a pool.
That's when people tell me like, do you guys remember
right
in that clip in that video clip, the United one, you welcome United before I quit. The first clip is me trying to do is me trying to do a flip off a little ledge.
Oh yeah.
And I front wheel case a little bit on come around.
Oh yeah.
I drove 6,000 miles for that clip and got one try. The first time we drove, we got kicked out. It's 1,000 miles each way. So we drove there and drove back. And then we drove again and drove back. It was raining. And then we drove back, got one try. So it's like, the way I see it is like on any spot when people, like Jason Enns needed a photo shot a few months ago. He's like, I built this like ladder I painted my ramp like a pool, and I built a ladder, and I want to air the ladder in my. Yeah, and he's like, I just don't have anyone to shoot it, so I just drove up and shot it.
That's sick.
But he lives 6 hours away.
Yeah,
I was gone like 24 hours.
Wow.
But it's
what
like,
does Jason Enns do for a living?
He works for himself.
All right.
He's self-employed. He also he smuggles maple syrup into Canada.
Out of Canada. Come on, get your story straight.
But my point is like at the end of the day, you're going to be home or doing. It's going to be 6 p.m. no matter what today.
Yeah.
So you might as well. If we're going to drive there, let's just go drive it. I don't care if it's 2 hours. Like otherwise, I'm riding the same skate park I'm riding all the time.
Yeah.
Or the same pool. Like I'm notorious for driving really far. For like 20 minutes of riding.
That's his motivation.
You drove to Hoffman's house and back.
Because I want to shoot a photo.
Yeah. Which is in Oklahoma.
24-hour drive.
Yeah, but I mean, we hit a bunch of stuff. So it wasn't like I just drove there. But I realized I'd never had a photo doing doubles with Hoffman. And so this is a great story. So we get there, I'm like, Matt, I want to do doubles with you. He's like, cool. So we later, a few hours go by, we go, all right, let's go do this ride. He's like, all right, so you're going to go over me, right? And I'm like, Matt, what part of the last 25 years of knowing me makes you think that I'm going over you? I'm looking at this
serious,
14-foot tall vert ramp. At the point, I don't ever ride ramps. Yeah. And I look at it and I'm like, I don't even want to drop in, Matt.
Yeah.
And so, I'm going over
That's
him.
Hilarious.
Stoops. But I was stoked in the photo.
Stuntman work, all that stuff.
Yeah.
What outside of the pandemic that does okay for you? Like I see you in the Foo Fighters video, and then Paul. Obviously, like Paul Blart's like the biggest one.
Well, just because it was the first one where I was like, I was an actor in that movie too, so it was like people always go back to that one because it's bikes too.
Did you make more money off of Paul Blart or the video game?
Paul Blart.
Oh, really?
Paul Blart has been a cash machine.
Wow.
Because it's a kid's movie, it plays all the time.
I don't even know if I've seen it.
And so
Mall Cop?
Oh, that.
You haven't seen it?
Yeah.
No, thanks for
I
the
didn't know it
support.
was the same thing.
Come on,
down.
dude.
I've seen you drive down those stairs.
No, you get residuals, like things play on TV.
Still get checks.
Yeah, I'll still get like $1,000 Mall Cop check twice a year or something.
That's crazy.
Yeah, Mall Cop has been like the biggest one. I mean, Guardians of the Galaxy 2 is the second biggest one, but yeah, I mean, I do fine. I wish I would work more if I could.
Yeah.
But
is everything starting to pick back up now because they figured out how to work with the pandemic?
There are people filming. I have not gotten hired from
so it's
anything.
Still less.
Yeah. Still less, but it's coming.
Yeah.
It'll come and it'll explode.
I
just need to make it there.
Yeah.
You will.
Yeah, because I wouldn't be in this rough of a situation with the pandemic, but at the Battle of Hastings, that one where I was a team with Van Homan, and I tried to nose pick the pillar. Do you remember that? This will haunt me forever because I quit. I did it tried twice, and I crashed on the second one. And when I crashed, I felt my whole bottom of my body go numb. And I was like, oh shit, something happened to my spine. And so I was like, all right, I'm going to quit. And I broke my toe from that first attempt. But the regular Mike would have been like, well, fuck, I'm doing it. It was so close. I'm like, I'm doing it. I just had to come in at a different angle, right? And so I'm like, I'll do this, but I had to quit, and that'll haunt me. But that was it. September 2018, my back started hurting to the point where I couldn't even get out of bed. And I'm sure all of you noticed that's when I started getting the ice bath and the sauna and all, because I was doing it twice a day to just move around.
Wow.
And so it turns out my L1 was twisted this way, my L2 is bulged, my L3 is twisted this way. So I had like a traffic jam in my back. Mm-hmm. And so for all 2018 and half 2019, I worked 8 days.
Fuck.
And ran through every bit of savings I've ever had.
Ooh.
And so then the pandemic happened. So it's like, oh, this is gnarly.
Yeah.
Because now I'm like looking at 2.5 years of no work. which who can survive that?
Does your back feel better now?
It's way. I found a guy that, like an acupuncture guy, that actually physically pushes my spine back into place. Like he feels it, like he's an old Chinese guy. He pushes back, and within the first time I saw him, I was better like 30%. The first time I saw him.
Wow.
And then I was going every week, and it's been getting better. And now that the pandemic I haven't been going, so it's starting to go back a little bit. But it's way. I mean, I was at the point where like not only can I not ride bikes anymore, I can't physically.
Yeah, you can't walk.
I couldn't pick my kid up. I couldn't do any job. I could barely walk up and down stairs.
Wow.
And it was, so. Yeah, guys, you take care of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and that was just because of some dumb crash. Then I didn't even know it until 6 months later.
Yeah. Thank God you didn't try it again.
Exactly.
Wrap things up even worse.
But like I said, though, it will eat at me for the rest of my life.
We all know you could have done it.
Yeah.
It was weird. I was like, damn, he had that and he's done. Like, I remember being like, Rooftop never stops trying shit.
That's a hard thing to walk away from.
It's a hard one, especially when I know that's the last thing I will ever ride in.
Yeah.
Like in that capacity.
It's okay.
Like, I mean, unless they ask me again.
Yeah. Let's get that real BMX parts. Fuck it.
I would have done that. I would have, if in the last 2 years ago.
Damn, you'd be a good pick.
If they would have asked me to do that, I would have, especially because that caveman part, that I put out a few years ago, that I filmed. That was 17 days of filming over 3 months
with the S rail.
Yeah, no. There was a caveman one.
Oh yeah.
So, but that was 17 days of filming over 3 months because it was raining and whatever. But so I know that I'm capable of it, or
now
was
it's 6 months.
I would have.
I'm pretty sure.
What's that?
I feel like it's 6 months now.
For what?
Yeah, now the time
I think if I had a huge gap of work and I had a bunch of money saved up, so I could take off 3 or 4 months to ride, I would
do it.
Absolutely.
But I think, and the only thing I want to do is as long as I don't get last, fucking sweet.
Yeah.
I remember when we did
everybody ties for fourth, so you never get last.
Yeah. Don't embarrass
for
yourself.
second or third.
That's bullshit.
You want them ranked out.
Like you got last.
Last place.
I remember when we did that Legends team at the Battle of Hastings, and at night in the bar they go back from 12th place. You never knew. Like all of us were standing next to each other. Me, Doyle, Garrett, and Van were like, 12 places. And our names were in 12th place. We're like, fuck, we won. We won. That was it.
That's all you want.
As long as we didn't get last.
I can see that. That's funny.
Yeah, that's funny.
The Battle of Hastings is so sick, though, dude. I think Morgan was fucking dope. Whatever last one that was last, 2019. But your guys' year was like, fuck. After Nora Cup, the hotel, the elevator in the hotel, and for some reason, you guys were all getting the elevator, and I just like fucking Timmy just walk with you guys to the elevator.
The four of us?
Yeah, it was weird. And with Joe too.
Oh,
and I was like.
That's pretty.
I was like, goodbye. The door was closing.
I remember that.
I was like, goodbye, childhood heroes.
I remember that.
Battle of Hastings and Nora Cup's always like
the
that.
last awkward moment for the door.
As soon as the door shut, we all went like, who was that?
Right? God, he's fucking creepy, huh?
Was that the ride guy?
No, not anymore. Forgot where I was going. Do we have anything? You've never drank.
No, I have drank. When
I
was in high school, I drank for like a couple weekends, and I decided I didn't like it.
Yeah.
And then I've had 3 drinks since then.
Okay.
I know all 3.
Yeah. Which one? Let's talk the occasions.
The one time I was around 2012.
Yeah. I was about to say pina colada.
I said I didn't drink. I didn't say I was a pussy.
I don't drink those.
This guy.
Oh God.
2012, I was in Vietnam, and we were drinking snake's blood, where you like cut the head off the snake and squeeze it in.
Strangers in danger.
Yeah, so we had to have alcohol in that, which I did. It tastes like jet fuel. So that was that one.
Yeah.
Another time in San Diego, sometime around there, I reached down to grab my Coke, and I drank it, and it was a Tecate, like a red can.
Yeah.
I saw it, so that. And then there was another time.
You only had one sip. You're like,
it's gross.
Yeah.
Because I actually don't like the taste of beer.
Yeah, of course.
And then
I don't think most people do. I think it's an acquired thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And
you like being drunk, and that like goes together with the taste. Some people go, "You
Canada." I had something called a sour toe cocktail, which is where it's a severed human toe at the bottom of a shot.
Yeah.
And so you drink it. It's like at this specific bar in the Yukon, and it's if you could drink it fast, you could drink it slow, but your lips must touch the toe. So you drink it, the toe comes down and hits your mouth. and go back. So that's the 3 times.
So you don't eat the toe.
Whose toe
No, you
was
don't
it?
though. I don't know. There's a
The first 2 are so eventful, and the second one's like I drank a Tecate with a beer or the cigarette butt in it or something.
No, you just it's people. It was this famous story of guys whose toe it was, the original when they started this, but now people donate their toes. Like, hey, when
Holy
I die,
shit.
you can donate to this thing. Yeah,
You did some crazy stuff on that Strangers and Dangers show.
yeah, we did some stuff on that show.
Yeah.
We did stuff that I can't believe is legal.
Yeah.
They're not legal, but allow us to do. Someone covered the insurance, which makes me probably think that there was no insurance.
That was a TV show for Fuel TV.
Yeah, you made like
Yeah.
no money off of that one.
No, the first season we did 65 days straight. I think we went home for a week in between because Catfish had a contest he had to go to, and I had pinched a nerve in my neck sumo wrestling. I was a sumo guy in Japan, and I couldn't even stand up. But we 65 days straight, and after paying bills for a house that I wasn't living in, because I was gone, right? I traveled. I think I made like $4,000.
Yeah.
For 65 days of work.
Yeah.
Really?
65
Yeah,
days
that-
of like
Yeah, well, I mean, I made like
scenarios.
11 or 12,000
stuff.
for the summer, but because I was paying rent at
Yeah,
home,
life.
so I think I walked with like $4,000.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, like terrible.
Yeah, I guess it is.
But at the same time, it's like I got to do things that no one will ever do.
Yeah,
Ever
shit people would pay for to get those experiences.
That's when
Use
people
your
like
life savings to do that stuff, and you ended up with $4,000
That's
plus
when-
paying for all your shit.
yeah. When people are like,
he who dies with the most story wins.
when I go, sometimes I'll
Stories
see
win,
like
right?
a comment about me online, or someone will write something about me. You know what I mean? Like whatever.
We should have done that.
And like
Rooftop comments.
I don't mind the ones that are true.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh yeah, well, I was being a dick, or whatever it is. It's true. I do suck. You know what I mean? Like, but it's the ones that are like just written by people who clearly don't know me.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? If you have a problem with me and don't have my phone number, then you don't know me well enough to have a problem with me.
Yeah.
But sometimes I'll see this terrible, crazy shit written about me. I'm like, which is like, I'm sure someone will assume the way something goes on in your life or something, and you're like, how do you ever assume how insane of a story is that, that they made up? But I always think, like, at the end of the day, I'm like, no one can say anything. Like, I've gotten to do everything I've ever wanted to do.
No.
Like, I can't feel bad about, I've never been a dick to someone. Like, there's a difference between, like, someone, like, not agreeing with you and someone, like, you hurtfully being someone. We can all name bike riders who are just dicks, who do things that are, like, because you're a dick. So I don't ever feel bad about it like that, because I'm like, you could have not agreed with me, but you getting hurt about it. It's not my fault.
Yeah, you talk shit, but it's in like the way.
Yeah, and I've always helped everyone out. That's like, you could go through 50 bike riders that at some point have said something like, "Hey, you did this for me a long time ago. Thanks." Like, look, I fucking built your ramp, bitch.
Wrote a nice caption.
Yeah, I wrote a nice caption.
We've had fun on the road together. You did a lot for me. Yeah.
Was there anything
You
on
don't
that
remember
show?
building my ramp?
Yeah.
Was there anything in that show that you guys refused to do?
Yeah.
What?
There was 2 things. There's one thing I couldn't do because I pulled a hamstring, and I had to run and jump over this huge rock, and I'm like, guys, I could barely hobble. If you want me to run, I'm going to really tear it, and we're screwed.
Yeah.
So I refused to do it, and I got in a ton of trouble, almost got fired. Another one was, there was like an RTD2 type, as long as I picture it, an RTD2 type like machine in Japan that you would basically have sex with. And they wanted us to do that, and I was like, I'm not doing that. And they said, well, and I was like, I have somewhat of a fan base. I can't be having that. And so they're like, well, you'll get new fans. I'm like, what kind of fans are those? So I refused to do that.
Catfish could have done it, right?
He might have. He might have just gone. I don't know. He's gone many mornings.
Yeah.
And then there was another one in Mexico City. It was our last stop, and they said we were joining a Mexican fight club. But at this time, I'd gotten wise to it. I'm like, no, you guys are hiring a bunch of Mexicans to beat us up in an alleyway.
Yeah.
And I was like, what if they break my jaw? What if you?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because like, you have to look at it 2 ways. Like, these dudes, sometimes we go to these poorer countries. Like, you're gonna pay these dudes $100 to beat up a bunch of dudes. They're gonna, you know what I mean? You don't know who you're getting.
Yeah.
So like, I'm like,
kind of low budget stuff.
Yeah, well, I'm like, we don't know what this dude's.
How did you know like what you're getting yourself into? Like,
we never
these
did,
type
but I
things?
started getting wise to it. You know what I mean?
Okay, so when you say I know what's going on, you hired a bunch of guys to beat us
didn't.
up.
Production did.
Like you're saying this.
Yeah, so I said I'm not going. I'm not doing it.
What sequence of events led you to believe that?
Well,
why were they so untrustworthy?
Well,
because you were like getting gunshot at you by like SAS people. Like, are they real SAS people? Or are they asshole with a rifle?
No, they were like, but you could. we'd done enough. Like every country we went to, we do like 10 to 15 things in a country. You guys maybe saw 5 in each country.
Yeah.
There's a ton of footage no one's ever seen.
Yeah.
And so you'd know like how well they were put together. And you're like, oh, is this sort of like we're trying to make it look like this? Is there really actually something? And you also got to fill up a country to make it have enough stuff. So you'd look at something and be like, well, they used to do these fight clubs back in the day, or like you read some article, because we try to do things that were real.
Extreme things in Mexico.
Yeah, and it's like, oh, here's an article of a fight club. You're like, that could have just been a bunch of dicks, gang members, you know, and they're trying to say, oh, we're going to make that a thing. So, and also like at some point you have to watch out for yourself, because I'm like, what if they break my jaw? And then what do we do for season 2? He's like, well, you'll have a few months to heal. I'm like, that's not an answer. And even the only thing that got me by is that I'm pretty good at like I'm good at a lot of things, like to survive, right? The way I always put it when they ask me is like, I'm good enough to make it a good show if I can do it, and I'm good enough to fail really bad if I can't do it, right? Like get myself in a position to be in terrible position. And so a lot of times it was like we fought over this one. There was one time when we were fighting these Taekwondo dudes in Korea, and they wanted us to fight with no pads. And I threw a fit. I was like, we're not doing that, guys. I'm not here to get punching bag. These are black belts, you know? And it didn't matter anyways, because like Taekwondo is a sport, so they were never going to do that anyways. It's not like, you know, it's not like mixed martial arts or something. So, or some, you know, some death sport. Yeah. And so that one was actually wild because they were just
pushing it and them to take off the gloves.
Well, they were just pushing it. They were just trying to
make any sense.
Didn't make any sense. You know, it wasn't going to make it any better. You know, it was just going to make me more hurt. Turned out, anyways, it was supposed to be like 3-minute, 2-minute rounds. You know, Catfish got kicked in the face with like a cartwheel kick. He actually came off the ground.
What?
Yeah, it's in the thing. But I did martial arts for like a decade when I was a kid. So I actually won. Yeah. And so they didn't want me to win though. Like it was supposed to be a 2-minute round or 3-minute round, and then all of a sudden it's like 6-minute round. We're still going. Just gassing, because I'm getting points. Yeah. Right? I'm getting points. And then finally he just the master or whatever, like conceded and was like, okay. And then they come out and brought me out a black belt. They're like, okay, we're gonna the only way we can accept this is if that you were a black belt. So yeah. Official. Pretty funny.
Damn.
Wasn't your and Catfish's relationship was probably pretty strained at points too. I think there was something where I remember Catfish venting to me in Long Beach about you or something like that. Me
and Catfish have shared so many we've been in so many positions that like I can't say I hate him, I can't say I love him either. You know what I mean? I think we both have we share something that no one else has ever shared. Like no one's done that, all those things. So, you know, there's things about Catfish that I can't stand and he knows it. And there's things that I love about Catfish, you know? But we were in a point where it was very stressful. You know?
It had to be.
Catfish knows how to push buttons too. You know what I mean? And there was one point we were training with like some Colombian military, and I misfired the gun. Like we were doing something and it was like boom, boom. And I went boom, boom. Yeah. Right. And it wasn't that big of a deal. Like, but he was on one of these rants where he's like, he just blew up, you know, over here. And he's like, you almost killed me. I'm like, you know, it was like these circles in this wood. Shoot here. And I went, pop. I just made a mistake, you know, instead of going boom, boom, I went, pa. And he lost it. And so now I was having a really bad day. I was in a terrible place in my life at the time. A bunch of stuff at home happening. And so and I was pissed at Catfish and I just had the gun in my hand and I'm walking towards him. I'm like, come here, Catfish, I'm going to fucking kill you. I'm going to kick the shit out of you. And I wasn't going to kill him, but I was going to beat the shit out of him. But you got all these other military dudes like, no! Because I'm walking towards him with a gun in my hand.
Yeah.
But I mean, you know, but there's things that I did that drove Catfish bananas and he felt the same too. But, you know, I look at Catfish different than everyone else because I have spent so much time with him. I know when it's a show. I know when it's not a show. Yeah. And, you know, people would call Catfish a pussy on that show because, I think
because he wouldn't do the stuff you would do.
Or he just wouldn't, you know, he gets scared or whatever it is. But part of that's his character for the show. Yeah. But you know what? When I came back, I realized that most people would not do 90% of the stuff we did.
Oh, hell no.
And Catfish did every one.
Yeah.
He did every one on the spot. So
is all his puking legit?
I mean, he can make himself throw up, but I would say 90% of it is legit. Other times we were like, okay, you got to make this a little more, you know. But I mean, I've had Catfish's puke in my mouth. Like there was,
you guys are pretty close.
Well, we did this one thing. So MTV at some point wanted a show, and they're like, "We want Strangers in Danger, but we don't want Strangers in Danger." So we shot this pilot. You know, they paid for this $400,000 for this pilot.
Wow,
$400,000 for a pilot.
So this is what they do. And so, but I knew the second we hired the directors, they were the directors who were doing it, the production. They were trying to like create like a Kardashian show, you know, like everything super produced. And we were doing this thing. We were eating these bulls, cooked bull head and bull dicks and bull balls, all this stuff, right? And Cappy's just eating the teeth out of the skull. And I told Cappy, "This doesn't look very good. I'm going to tap you in the foot, and that's your permission to puke on me." Right? And so like it didn't need something. So I tapped Catfish, and he'd been drinking a lot of Gatorade because he needs fluids, right?
Yeah.
And so I tapped him, and he just looked at me and was like, "That's right." And then he just projectile vomited on me. And it got in my mouth. And but everyone's like,
I mean, why didn't that make it?
I mean, the show it just had problems.
Yeah.
But I've had a lot of puke, Catfish puke on me. It's okay though. It's just water from inside of you.
I have base jumping on the subject as well.
Okay, yeah. What about it?
So, I mean, you haven't been posting skydiving stuff recently.
I haven't been jumping a ton.
Yeah.
I did some stuff for the TV show that we talked about earlier that I did in the summer. I did a balloon jump for that, and then for the outro of the show, I stand up from my desk. It's like a full talk show. I stand up and then I just run through a wall. We built a wall that I dive through, and then we also built a wall in the back of a plane. The planes that have like the
hangar drop
like like a military kind of one.
That thing was sick.
They come up. I built a wall, painted it to look like the plane, and then I ran and broke through that wall into a skydive.
Crazy.
And so those are the last skydives I did. Before that, it'd been a year. Before that I skydived a little bit to get prepared for it, to get up to date. But it'd been a year. I'd shot an Oakley commercial, and I almost it was my first real skydive accident. And
really?
Yeah, that sort of stopped me for about a year.
During a commercial shoot.
So the last jump of the day.
What was that?
When you throw your pilot chute, it usually takes 4 to 8 seconds roughly for your parachute to open, and it unfolds. It unfolds nice and slow. So you're slowing down as that happens, right? It's catching wind. So because you're dropping about 120 miles an hour, and you want to slow down gradually. Because imagine 120 miles an hour to a dead stop, right? Well, I threw it, and my canopy opened within like a half a second.
Oh shit!
Because of the guy who packed it wrong, and so it opened up so instantly. I thought in that split second that someone ran. I thought someone tracked and ran into me. Like when you see dudes like tracking.
Yeah.
I thought someone ran into me in the air, and that's what it hit me, because it felt like I got hit by a truck. So my chin, I'll show you the photo when this is done. My chin is on my chest. Right, my back is all bowed because it's bending me like it's so much. I bruised my whole jaw here, bruised this, knocked myself out from the G forces from that hit. So I woke up under canopy about 20 seconds later or something.
No so you probably when you woke up, you thought you got hit.
Well, I mean, I woke up. When I say woke up, it's I don't know if I went fully out or just so
dazed.
To come around, and I didn't know what happened at that point. I figured it out, but I was so concerned with just landing and being okay, because a lot of times necks break like that.
Yeah,
right?
Fuck, I can imagine.
But yeah, that sort of was the first skydive accident that I had. That I was
so scary.
Yeah, it was gnarly. Right? It was gnarly.
Just kind of made you rethink skydiving.
Well, it just made me realize that I don't want to say complacent because I'm pretty safe, but that's something that it didn't I didn't think of.
Yeah.
That's something I can't control, other than just making sure your shoes packed correctly. But I had one other one. That happened to my other buddy, Brandon, the first day. The first day I went to get my AFF skydive, he was already skydiving, and I got there, and he had just had the same thing happen to him, and he broke his back on it.
Oh, shit.
Just the yank fractured his back. So,
did you go tell that dude who packed your shit?
No, he was going to pack up again. I'm like, nope.
Fuck.
I don't really get into the blame thing. You know what I mean?
I'll let him know though. Dude, you're doing it wrong.
I mean, he knows.
Yeah,
he's packing thousands of. He's just made a mistake. He just missed the thing.
So that was at that point you had already quit base jumping.
Yeah, I quit base jumping when my daughter was born.
Yeah.
So
and that's because it is just it's like a matter of when, essentially. Because I listened to that one the the Keep Bleeding podcast with the guy
Jeb Corliss.
Yeah, that guy.
It's wild, isn't it?
You should listen to that one. If you think
With
if
Rooftop?
you think bike riders are fucking gnarly, that dude a straight up death wish. You know,
everyone should go listen to the
he literally.
Keep Bleeding
I mean,
Jeb Corliss
he
episode.
honestly sounded like a sociopath.
No, he's great.
Like,
What is it
like,
called?
Just it's my podcast, Keep Bleeding.
Yeah.
But it's just Jeb
It's one of the,
Corliss.
it's one of
dude,
the
you had
first
on
It's
one
the
or
first
two.
one.
Oh, it was the first one. Yeah, he is gnarly.
It's
dude.
gnarly though. You
Yeah.
want to talk about stuff that's gnarly?
Yeah.
He talks about
And all of his
shit.
friends are dead, basically.
Yeah.
Like every single one of his friends are dead.
So
Like,
I just decided
yeah.
because you can base jump relatively, so you can be safe. There's
Yeah.
plenty of guys who have thousands of base jump, but you also have to do it a lot to be current. And you know, like anything, it's like you
go
tail whipping that jump from your back of your jump box into that far wall, whatever it is. You know, like that was safe because you ride all the time.
Yeah.
But if you didn't ride for 2 years,
You're
you'll
like,
ride
I
your
gotta
bike.
film this. It'd be a lot.
Yeah, you'd be
sketchier.
like, oh, this you know.
Yeah.
And so I just decided that the few seconds of fun isn't worth my daughter potentially growing up without a dad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So for me, maybe someday I'll get to do it again. I mean, I never got to do any big wall jumps. So I would like to at some point, but right now I just feel like
low on the list.
yeah, just you know, and there's times I'll see Matt doing stuff and I'm like, oh, it looks so rad. I want to go do that. And then but I can't put enough energy in it to be safe
Yeah.
to where I feel like I can.
No, that's a great point.
Well,
You
that
got
I
a
can
daughter.
wage those, you know what I mean, that the juice is worth the squeeze, you know?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Does like a base jump carry you for a while? Like satiate you on the like a thrill
I
aspect?
mean, it's
or
like
is it,
anything, you know what I mean? Like I guess for me, I just feel like I'm doing something.
Yeah.
I like the thing that and this might be an ego thing, I don't know. The thing I really enjoy about everything I do is I like doing things that I know no one else has ever done or been in that position, right? Like I when someone brings an idea up to me or something, like I could be somewhere that no one's ever been before.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've been upside down above a helicopter with their blades moving. No one's ever done that.
Yeah.
Travis Pastrana did it on his motorcycle, a decade later.
Yeah.
Like between me and him, no one's ever been upside down above a motorcycle. I mean, above a helicopter blades. Yeah. Or there's like, there's other things that we do. I'm like, no one's ever done this before. Or like, or I share a very small, you know what I mean? It's like, that's when
That's cool.
You're the only person to high five me during a skydive.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, yeah.
I went skydiving, and it was like a couple months before, and Rooftop was like, "Oh, next time you go out, hit me up." And I was at the skydive place, and I was like, "Fuck, I forgot to hit him up." And I called him, and he's like, "Oh, I'm here right now."
Wow.
And then he went up. Like I had the dude strapped in my back. Like I was like
just like every day.
Yeah, literally. Yeah. I'm married. Rooftop. Yeah.
He's a nice man.
Yes, he is. He totally fucking sidetracked me.
He
got me so good. No,
you guys went skydiving together.
So
It's like,
they assign you like an instructor or the dude or whatever, the husband, and Rooftop went up to him and was like, "Hey, yeah, like I want to jump with you guys, blah blah blah." And the guy was like, "Oh, how many jumps do you have?" And Mike was like, "Oh, like 800 or something, like
whatever it is. Yeah, it's not enough, but
a solid number." And he's like, "Nope." Like, not going to do it. And I was like, oh, okay. And then Mike's like, oh, I'll go find you another guy. Did
I do that?
Yeah, I went around and found another guy that said yes.
To tandem with?
Yeah, and then got me a new guy.
I don't remember that.
And then we high-fived.
I remember that.
It was just one of my friends.
And it was just in my head, I'm like, why doesn't that guy want to do it?
No, because if you don't know this person, you don't know how safe he is. You know what I mean? You die doing that stuff. So I need to find someone else that knew that I was capable.
Yeah.
But I remember giving you a high five.
Yeah, that was sick.
Yeah. But I love skydiving. I'd like to start wingsuiting more. I stopped wingsuiting back then too.
Yeah. It's expensive, right?
No, it's cheap.
Really?
It's a wingsuit? Is that the squirrel suit?
Yeah. But no, to skydive, it's like $26 a jump.
Oh. As long as you have your own chute and stuff like that, right?
Your own gear.
Yeah.
It's not expensive.
Okay. Fair enough.
But I do more balloon jumps than I do skydives.
In bear outfits.
Yeah, well, not anymore. Yeah. But no, I do more balloons because they're just more fun. They're more expensive, but there's nothing better than jumping out of a hot air balloon. Because when you jump out of a plane, the plane's already going 100 miles an hour. So when you jump out, there's already relative wind.
Yeah.
And you can instantly control yourself.
Hot air balloons just...
Hot air balloons like jumping off a bridge.
Straight drop.
And so for the first...
it's quiet, right?
Quiet, super quiet.
Yeah. I want to go
And for the
on
first
this.
1,000 feet, it's like...
Just builds.
You're just falling out of control. If you want to go sometime, next time we do a jump, You just pay it and go for the ride and watch it
Yeah, I
jump
want
out.
to do that.
There's like rope swings off it, and
Do you go in Del Mar?
I just made my
no,
stomach
it's up in
queasy
like
thinking about
Elson,
that.
like
Like,
Paris.
like
Okay.
Paris.
I think I'm scared of hot air balloon more than sky.
Jason
Yeah,
Enns
yeah,
came up
bro.
with me up once.
I would love to go in a hot air balloon. That'd be
Yeah.
sweet.
I mean, I've been in one hot air balloon that I've landed in, and I will.
That's more sketchy
It's
than
way
you know?
sketchier. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's the
No
most
way.
medieval thing you've ever.
Yeah.
You go up and you land where you're allowed. Like, okay, the wind is blowing. Let's go down before we get to those mountains. Like, there's no control in it. You're just.
Wow.
It's insane.
Yeah.
It is insane.
It's
Yeah.
insane.
You got to go on a non-windy
You
day.
can't drop an anchor. Or
No.
anything like that.
I mean,
You're literally just
it's
going.
you're just going, and then they're like, okay, well, if we don't go down now because this is what the winds are doing, then we have to fly another 20 miles over this mountain range. So
So
it's
you
like,
have to go up and over it.
yeah,
and
like
then-
it's so that, yeah.
Uh-huh.
So you just
That is
stay.
sketchy.
You basically stay up
Sounds
until
stupid
there's
as shit.
somewhere landing. Yeah,
It's not like riding.
It's so dumb.
Back to bike riding.
No, just the concept of like,
Yeah,
like,
it's
yeah, you
when
are
it's insane. I don't know if anyone's ever been across the ocean in a hot air balloon. Is that something's happened?
Probably.
probably.
Get your guy on it. He's over here, right? He's gonna look up.
Yeah.
You have the guy
Yeah.
like Joe
Yeah.
Rogan that looks
Yeah.
up everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let me get that guy.
Was there something that David Copperfield was supposed to do? Something like go with a bunch of balloons and then
I
go
don't
and then ride up in and then just drop off
Hold
and
on.
base
I'll
jump?
text him. Hold on. Just
Motherfucker. You got anything? I got-
Rooftop, you full of info. It's been fun. You got any? What are you doing now? Just trying to find jobs and ride and have fun with your friends.
I mean, we filmed this edit.
Find new friends.
Find new friends. Look, I'm just lonely.
Yeah, all his friends are all over the country.
No, I just I hope I get to ride my bike as much as I can.
Yeah.
I technically could ride way more, but it's like I also my body's I like to save it for times when it's good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I like with the pool riding. The reason why I ride pools now is because I just realize that I have to sort of shift my riding to something that still challenges me.
And it's
So
smooth.
and it's smooth, like because it's street riding. Even if I pull it, it still hurts.
Mhm.
And so with
And
pools,
pools are kind of like the street of transition.
I mean, I just feel like I can challenge myself and do something that's hard,
Yeah.
and still
And land smooth.
but still feel good about it. Like I can, where like now, if I go ride a skate park, I'm like, that wasn't fun to me because I'm not going to do anything that's going to make me feel challenged because anything above that level, I could potentially
The
get really hurt.
perfectness of a skate park
Yeah.
allows you to go pretty fucking crazy.
Yeah, so I have to go above that level and I have to stay below it.
Yeah.
But with a pool, I can do like the 6 like basic tricks, but they're hard.
Yep.
Like like ice picking instead of stairs, I could work. That could take me a lot of tries. You know what I mean? But I can feel like I accomplished something.
That's a great point.
Nose
and-
pick and love seats.
Yeah, so
That
like
seems hard.
I can nose pick on a quarter pipe. I'm like I don't care.
yeah.
Just like no one else.
And you're
does.
gonna be like, all right, I want to do something better, and it's like you just
You've got a cap on it.
It's
There's a cap on what you're possible of. It's like when you see like Corey Walsh is a perfect example because he's so good. It's like if I could like there's like what I do in a pool and there's like this techie part of it and then there's like this gap of like where everyone else might sit for like airs and things and then there's what Corey does.
yeah.
And I'm not there's some of the things Corey does I'm like I could probably get that pocket but it take me probably 40 tries and and now it's put me out of that range.
But he's also got a different style because he's completely pegless, pocket airs.
But what I'm
You're
saying-
4 pegs.
What I'm saying
like,
is he could drop in and do it and be done with it in first try.
Yeah.
It's amazing. But what I'm saying is the level between it's enough gap in between that I put it at a different level where I'm like, okay, that's too many slams for me to be worth it.
you're not striving to be like, I
No.
want to keep up with Corey
No,
on
so
that
yeah.
stuff. Yeah.
So, but and I also look at it like, okay, well, I could Canadian pick a shallow end of a pool, which is hard.
That'd be scary.
Right,
But
diving
at
into
the end
that.
of the day, I'm like, I'm only falling 4 feet, so
Yeah.
I could survive this.
And when you pull it, you're gonna go right into the training.
Yeah, so like if I fall, I'm like, it's 4 feet. I can survive.
Yeah, it's like riding a resi.
Yeah, I can survive. I wouldn't go that far, bro.
I had to give you shit.
Anytime you want to have a contest in a pool, Corey.
Yeah.
That'd be a good
Anytime.
contest.
Are you doing
That'd
another
be-
pool party thing?
That
I think
was
I
Oh,
sick,
heard.
actually. That pool party
yeah.
jam,
There-
that was really cool.
I was gonna bring that up, and I
Yeah.
split my mind, but that was one of the funnest jams ever.
I was
It-
bummed when I
it-
saw
A lot
I
of
didn't
that.
get to go.
I don't think a lot of people
That's
saw that either because
No, because it was supposed to be live and GoPro was
you guys documented it with GoPros.
yeah, totally. Well, here's the thing: was the deal I made with GoPro, and they paid for the insurance and gave me a little bit of money to build all the ramps and stuff. Was that they had sole rights to do it live, right? And I was more concerned with just doing it than I didn't care.
And this was, for people who don't know, it was like literally you guys rented a mansion with a huge mansion-sized pool.
Yeah, like
and
it's
built
more like
ramps around it, and you surprised all of us. You just gave us an address, like 15 of us, and we showed up like, what
10
the
of us,
fuck is this? 10 of us.
And I also invited dudes from different generations. So there was dudes like from the 80s, from the 90s.
It was like everyone from Tyler Fernangle to Dave Asado.
Yeah,
you know,
and
like
Dave
everyone in the
Volker.
middle. Volker. Yeah, it was all the way to Volker. Like
and so
that
I wanted
generation.
dudes who could never be on the deck together.
Yeah,
that was.
And then GoPro had an issue with all the live, and it just wasn't worthless.
Yeah.
So there's no footage of it really.
Nah.
And which is a bummer, but at the same time, I kind of like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
10 people remember it.
yeah, it's great. I mean, I remember I was in Belize at the time, and I was like, got the confirmation that we were going to get the mansion to do it, and so I shot a video of like, hey guys, I'm inviting you to a secret contest in LA. Blah, 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 blah. And I had a big pyramid behind me. I don't know if you remember, but I sent a video, and I sent a link to the video to the 10 people. And like I was in like some ruins, like pyramid ruins. And then like I said, I didn't tell anybody where it was, and I gave you guys an address of a parking lot not quite at the event because I didn't want anybody to Google Earth it.
Yeah, and you guys picked us up.
Yeah, then I picked you up and took you up there. So I was hoping it would feel like, what the hell is
That
this?
was a cool day.
A real
But yeah, I do want to do another one.
Yeah.
That was cool.
And I have a location.
Sign me up.
And there,
I wanna be there.
You would love it. It was so cool.
I have a location, and it'll be a little bit wider than just pool because there's other stuff there. And he's down to do it. It's just going to matter this pandemic thing and how busy my schedule is, if it makes sense. But if I do it, I'm going to do. There's a possibility I might try to make it a team thing, where it's 80s team, 90s team, 2000 team, and then 2010 team, like 4 teams of 3 of dudes that, you know, to just make it fun, you know.
That's cool.
Which would be like four generations of people, you know. Just in case anyone was worried on how much we all suck now. But yeah,
that would be epic.
Hopefully it'll happen. You know, it just depends. Like
that's what was cool about the GoPro pool jam you did, because there was all these generations, but like nobody. It was like dude steal like Volker was flip faking, freaking everyone out. He was going higher than you've ever seen.
was just doing anything.
Frymuth was doing everything. It was like, dude, and all these dudes who haven't, you know, they haven't been riding as much as like
Frymuth
some
didn't
of the
even have a
guys.
bike.
Yeah,
he had to get a bike built. He had to get a bike, and he
gosh.
just did shit. It was awesome.
It was just because it's these guys who know they love this shit, and once it turned into the jam, it was like in practice they were kind of like, I don't know, I haven't rode in a while. Then it was like
Dave goes, I don't know what to do, because Dave never rides. He's like, I don't know what to do, and then he just like goes out first try 540 Canadian, the Jersey Barrier.
Yes, it was so good.
Wow. He's got that edit I put out last week. Now he's got a couple clips in there.
Sick.
But yeah, no, it was sick. I remember like Frymuth and those dudes being so stoked, being like, "Oh my god!" I looked over and there was Dennis Anderson and like everybody that they would never be on a deck with. You know what I mean?
So cool.
That's exactly how I felt. I was like, "Holy shit!"
Yeah, it's cool. I think.
Well,
Me and
BMX
Gary and Volker drove up together. I was like, "This is sick!" Just driving up with these guys.
Yeah, because you're a part of that now.
And Tyler, I think
you realize that, right?
What's that?
You're because. Like for me, BMX, there's always been like San Diego, right? So it was the Dirt Brothers, and there was these guys, and then it was Gary Young, or there was Dave Volker, and now it's Gary Young, and now it's you. You're part of that San Diego legend.
Dude's
so when you
from here,
when you
Chad
drove up,
Chad's born and raised from.
You like that was a car full of like
Tyler too. He's not from San Diego. It was crazy. It was 4 generations because Tyler, me, Gary, and Volker. I think we all came in the same car. Yeah, I was like, this is fucking crazy.
I was like secretive about it too. I was like, you can't bring anybody.
Yeah, it was just us.
And I felt bad seeing that, but I'm like,
no, it made it better.
It made it, looking back.
We went to like some shit place on the way up, like super mediocre. And Volker's like, wow, healthy food for the new generation of BMXers. And I was like, this isn't even good. He's just like, we just McDonald's and KFC, It was so funny. It was like so not healthy, And he's like, ooh, you guys eating healthy. This is fancy. It was like,
you need to get him on it.
I know. I talked to him. He messaged me after.
Let's do that. That's a great idea.
The Cole podcast and said that it was really good.
Do both.
I talked to him the other day.
Throw that one on there. Yeah.
I called him to try to find a spot down here. That ditch spot. There's like a spot me and Gary cleaned out.
So that for your edit, and I think in general too, like you've been down in this area a couple of times. So the one was the secret spot, the tranny spot thing. And how did you find out about that? Because I did not know that was there.
You kill it with spot finding.
It just requires leaving your house, Dennis.
I'm always
I know you are. Come
on. The spots happen to be all around here.
But the thing is like you guys can count on tricks. I have to really count on spots.
Okay.
So I figure if I can find the spot and just do the simple thing, as long as I get there first, then you guys can go do whatever you want, and I'm fine. That spot, I don't want to name names because I don't want to get anyone in trouble, but a skateboarder gave it to me.
Okay.
Yeah, we were going to go one time. We had gone out to ride this spot in Arizona together. And he's like, "Oh, have you been here yet?" I'm like, "No." And so there was a spot that transition spot.
Yeah.
He gave it to me, and I've had it for since April.
Oh, really?
Pin.
Yeah.
And I just was like, "Oh, well, let's go look." And there was another bike rider who I don't know if I name names either, but he texted me right. He's like, "Look, I found that spot. Don't blow it up." And I'm like, "Well, I mean, I don't need to blow it up. I'm not going to put anything up." But someone's put work in there, so it's not like it's new.
Yeah.
Because someone had to cement the bottom.
Yeah.
Because it was really rough for skaters to do. So it's been a spot, but it's weird. I've never seen any footage from it before.
Yeah, I mean, it's
But
it's crazy how close I have been to that spot without. But
Yeah.
honestly, I've talked like oh, we should go over there. Because
But even if you went over there, you wouldn't look there.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't. So.
And
but you never know. You know when it's like that, you're like, I'm never gonna come back here. So like, let's fucking poke around the building and just make sure because I'm never gonna come back. So I'm not saying never, but you're probably right.
It was fun going with Gary.
Yeah.
Me and Gary went, and I think Gary he was like he had so much fun that day because I think he'd sort of it had been a while since he'd really like genuinely gone searching for something.
Yeah.
With, we're hiking down hills, up and hiking fences, going into legal places, climbing up ladders. Like, you know what I mean? Like there was one point where you I got to hook your bike on so you could use two hands to climb. And that to me is like, that's like a weekly thing for me, you know? And so he was just, I think he had a lot of fun. I mean, if I was as good as Gary, if I could do all the tricks he could do, I'd be just as good as him. But
yeah, I mean, yeah.
But
where's he going with this?
Yeah, it was good. And then there was a ditch from the video right on.
Yeah.
And before there was an old photo of Wilkerson doing a tabletop shot through the fence that I always loved. And I was like, why does this ditch have this extension? It's because it's like a DIY extension. I'm like, why have I never seen this? And I told Gary, and he was like, I think it's over here. I'm like, no, I think it's down there based on what Vic says. I called Vic and called Pete Augustin and called all these dudes. And Gary was right. It was exactly where he said, but we had spent all day in these other spots that I was doing, that we
were being
told.
stubborn.
Yes.
Yeah.
But then we got there, and another lesson learned. It was all overgrown.
Yeah.
And so we came back a couple weeks later and we cut literally a tree out. Not like a tree. I don't know how to explain it.
I mean, it
was
a
a
looked
bush.
like a tree.
Imagine
basically.
a bush with tree-sized trunk, out branches the size of your living room or bigger, a huge living room. So we cut that all out, and then we whacked the manhole cover, and so I got to ride this spot. And there's a Dirt Brothers sticker on the pole.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah, and I wanted to do. There was a couple things I wanted to do for this edit there, and I just never got back.
Yeah.
Like I went there on the day we built it. On the day we cut it all out. We kind of only had a couple hours, and by that time I'm tired. I'm like, oh, we'll come back, and I never made it.
So it just for perspective, like that the ditch that he's talking about for the people that don't know is that it is literally like 2 miles from my house right now. And as you said earlier, we live in very deep San Diego, so it took you 2.5 hours. When you say come back,
oh yeah,
it's
yeah.
like you're talking about 5 hours of driving.
Yeah. Especially when I was the hardest part about filming this thing we filmed was there's no one to ride with.
Yeah.
Like in LA, there's no one to ride with. Like there's a couple people, but they all have jobs or whatever. So it's like, and I if I have my daughter or whatever school, so it's like, I'm like, oh, tomorrow I can ride. Well, then I've got to drive wherever it is. Yeah. Yeah. And so it's hard. It was hard to find anybody. I would have gotten a lot more covered footage if I could have gotten someone to ride with and film with.
Yeah.
But I was like, I don't care about driving. So 2.5 hours, just do it. And get it done. Because I can be like, I'll just leave early and be here and be, I live in a different kind of world when it comes to times, because with movies it's like your call time is 4 a.m. or your call time is 2:30 because you have to sit in the chair and get prosthetics put on your face for 3 hours. Yeah. So you're like someone saying like, oh, I'm gonna wake up at 6 so I can be there at 8:30. Like, okay. Cool. It's just like I look at it as like that. It's like that's just the call time. That's
just a given. Basically.
That's just the call time.
Yeah.
And if you want to get it done, it has to be done. But there's spots, man. There's so many spots here that no one rides, and I wish I could take people there. I wish they would go. You know,
take me to this one, right? You can give me a spot.
Yeah, I'll give it to you.
All right, cool.
I'm down. I mean, as long as
he knows where it's at.
Oh yeah,
it's not a secret.
Yeah, that one's not a secret. But
then again, it's been sitting by your house, and you guys never ride it because of a bush.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we rode it back in the day. We just I kind of forgot about it. The skate parks ruined everything. Skate parks made everything too easy. I've
skate parks ruined everything.
They ruined the adventure. You don't have to go anywhere. You don't have to go.
You don't have to go to the skate park.
Well, yeah, but easy.
That's like saying
it's the Keurig of coffee.
There's a movie theater next door playing the same movie every day for 12 years. I'm just going to go there because it's easy instead of the movie theater that's 12 miles away.
Yeah, but if the movie theater Yeah, I mean, it's closer.
See?
Everyone's gonna have their own opinion on this.
Yeah.
Street,
Yeah.
skate park,
No,
trails.
you know
what do
what,
like?
you know what I'm
Yeah, I
saying.
know what you're
though.
saying,
It's
yeah.
like you don't have to build dirt jumps anymore because you have 4 skate parks within 15 minutes.
Yeah,
of my
I mean, there's
house.
the guys up in LA that are out with, they'll go ride the same terrible skate parks. They're like, well, it's right there. I'm like, yeah, but how do you like? To me, it doesn't. I feel like I'm dying when I go there.
Well, I mean,
like inside.
Yeah.
And that's how I feel about a lot of skate parks.
Yeah,
I'd
it's like
rather
I
go
just,
ride street.
I'm just like, oh, I just like, and the thing is, it's like, and that's why
It's gotta be
I'll
really
drive
good, or I
somewhere
just want to go ride street.
3 hours to ride something for an hour, even, and I'm just because it's different.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, oh, there's something different. No one's been here, and like it's
That's the thing. If I'm gonna go ride skate parks, I want to go on like a skate park trip.
Trip,
Like
yeah,
Oregon,
that's
ride
different.
some good ones.
Yeah.
You know?
Like I'm not saying I hate skate parks, but I'm like, especially the ones in Southern California are the worst ones in the entire country.
Most of them are. 90% of them are.
It's
Just,
terrible.
that's why everyone's like, you just ride your ramp all the time when you're home. Like,
Yeah, because my ramp's
easy.
better than everything.
yeah, because I built this because it's like everything I like.
Yeah.
yeah. It's a very spoiled thing to say, but yeah, you go to the local parks.
But you've earned it.
I don't know
It's
about
not
that.
spoiled.
But
No,
I built
you've earned it.
Jason Watts built it.
I mean, you
And
look
you
at
built the first one.
look at that drawing behind you.
That's a good drawing.
You've earned it.
It's not in the shot, Dennis. So
Damn.
you're good.
Get that thing out of here.
Shout out to Jamal that sent us some artwork.
Jamal.
You got some good pictures in there.
Yeah, you can see
the room's coming
you can
together.
see the Demarcus one over Corey's shoulder there.
Sweet.
I think I may be out.
What?
I wanted to talk about the Demarcus rail backflip.
Oh yeah.
What we talked about it on Demarcus's podcast. But
by the
was
way,
it,
thank you. You guys said some nice stuff there.
oh,
Well, Demarcus
I
did.
regret it. Yeah. Anybody else? I would have been like,
Take
oh
it
yeah, no
all back.
worries.
So yeah, Demarcus was trying the street up rail backflip. Got the ideas
Yeah.
from the boxes from you.
That was
Yeah,
pretty
You,
yeah,
came,
'cause-
you came out the first time,
Yeah, because
right?
he called me
Yeah.
for like, get my 2 cents on what I thought.
Yeah.
And I've been looking for one forever.
Yeah.
Right. Or I've been looking for like a good feeble one, like out of a curb, because you
Oh,
have
yeah.
a ledge or something, right?
Yeah.
Well, I was looking. There would be a few things if I found.
Don't be the adventure. For
Yeah,
that
well, no.
one.
Sometimes if I see something, there would be some things that would call me back. I think a little bit, like, all right, I'm gonna figure this
Some
out.
dream spots that
Yeah, then I'm like,
there'll be an omen to be like, film
yeah,
this.
and so I gave him my 2 cents about it. He's like, "Will you come out?" So I drove out the hour and 45 minutes out to watch him do this, and gave him my 2 cents. You know, it's hard to give someone like Demarcus your 2 cents because you're capable of it.
Yeah.
But with the rail flip, the problem with the rail flip is you're not grinding long enough to think about anything, and you're not on the rail long enough to get set up. You have to land perfect.
Commit before you even hop on that
Yeah,
rail.
you're committing before you. That was what was so gnarly about the one I did. Is like you're committing to the flip before you're balanced.
Yeah.
So whatever you're like, as soon as you jump on, you're off the end.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're crooked when you get on, you're sent when you get off. So I don't know if that rail he was trying off was the best one to do it on. I personally don't think so.
Yeah.
But it's obviously
it had to be the best one that you've seen, best candidate, or no?
No,
is there
I've seen a few that are like better candidates. I
Yeah?
saw one.
I would
time
want one as steep as possible.
So you're halfway there.
It's not the steepest.
That was
so-
like you'd have to be able to backflip off basically like flat. That thing was
Bunny
so
hop.
mellow.
So when we were talking, I was thinking like we should toe strap the center of it, wax the shit out of the toe
it down
strap,
a
you know,
little.
and pull it down to bend it a little bit
No,
more.
I don't
like,
think
give
you
it
need
some
that
swoop.
because I mean I've done a flip off a wedge before.
yeah.
People
Demarcus
do
probably
it.
can too.
Yeah, he could do it. He's
Yeah.
capable of doing it. It has to like that one flexed too much, I think, which is a.
Yeah.
But I think what he was also trying to do is what it looked like. I hate making assumptions because I'm basing it on what I'm looking at. Because he was doing the rail and then a big tuck to do it, which means you're pulling up like a jump.
Yeah.
And I don't believe that's how you would do it on that.
Maybe
I
loop the
believe
backpack
Line
up.
off, right?
I think you're just basing it on distance,
Mhm.
not height. Like you just got to come at it and just whip off the end as hard as you can,
Yeah.
and not
Like
worry
a-
about going high.
Almost like your head would be close almost.
Or just wouldn't be 8 feet up.
Like you do a hard 180, you scoop it rather than
Yeah,
like
it's more of a scoop, right?
Yeah.
And so, and I'm
With
not saying he
pegs,
couldn't
different.
do it that way because look at how high he was going.
Yeah.
And people do
He
flips
almost
off
did.
everything, you know?
Yeah.
But I am 100% positive he can do it. He just needs to find the right rail, or it just needs to be the right day.
Yeah,
That's all it is. I mean,
That's also
if he went there with boxes, like, because he asked me, he went back, he's like, how do I practice? I'm like, put some boxes there. 'Cause at least then, because here's the problem with that trick, which I don't think people really take into consideration, because most bike riders never do a trick where their life depends on it. When I mean, I know it sounds dramatic, but like if you land upside on your head on that, it's going to be a rough time with it. You know what I mean? Especially when you're doing it with no helmet. Like it's not the same as doing a flip off a jump box because
you're going to get around.
Right? But you can get stuck on the rail and just be like, oh,
Yeah. It's literally like the first dude to do a backflip. You just didn't know if they're going to make it around. Aside from no one's done it on a rail, really.
If you do,
Jason Phelan maybe.
Yeah, Jason did.
Jason did it.
And we had tons of conversations about it too. He called me. But if you had enough boxes where you could get one around, like do it enough where you figured out what the trick was on that rail. You know what I mean? What you need to do on that specific setup. Because I think any setup you could probably do it.
Yeah.
You could do it. But you're bound by walking later for the rest of your life.
Of course, yeah. Consequences.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I mean, I think a lot of people could do it probably. But
still hasn't happened. Rail to backflip in the streets.
I'm surprised. I'm surprised people don't do rail to front flips in the streets.
Ben Snowden did the
I
rail
was
to
gonna
front
say, I
flip.
remember that.
I said in the streets.
I know, but it's pretty crazy that Snowden did that.
Zach Gerber did the.
Zach Gerber did one.
Yeah.
He did one?
Yeah, he's done a
A
couple.
legit one, right?
Yeah, the exercise bar one, and then he did an up ledge to rail. That's crazy.
Like I give all the respect because I know it's gnarly.
Yeah.
Front flips I think are probably a little safer.
Yeah. No, for sure.
Because you went back.
Yeah.
Also, front flips are stupid. And so, in general,
It's like because you can't do them.
no, they're dumb. They're dumb looking on. They're dumb looking on snowboards. They're dumb looking on everything. But that's not to say I haven't seen one and been like, oh my god.
Yeah, we talked about this on the People Talk
Yeah,
episode.
I mean, I can't believe someone hasn't done it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's coming. I'm sure it's
But
coming.
I'll be every time I watch a video part now, I'm like, I see things that I literally would talk about or I think was like this is possible 20 years ago.
Yeah.
But we just didn't have the skill level or you know what I mean, weren't there and I'll see things happen and I'll be like,
it did.
oh, sick.
Yeah.
It got
Like
done.
even things like even when hangers to tail whips came out, I was like, right when I saw first hangers, I'm like, why isn't anyone doing that to tail whip?
Huh.
Yeah.
And you see someone doing it, you're like,
Just took enough skill in the right spot.
It just took the right person,
the right person, right spot too for some tricks. Like it's like it's so hard to do a hanger to whip off like a drop or something, but someone finally found a bank to rail.
Yeah,
I think Colin Varniak was like the first one to really do one that I seen. Not at the skate park, and it was like a perfect setup for it.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I think that bike riding is filled with the most talent it's ever been filled with.
I agree. It's getting better and better, and more people are doing it. It's just growing in such a beautiful way. Yeah.
Well, so what's next for you? Are you got anything in the works?
I mean, I got some jobs for next year. I think there's a chance I might go work on a movie called Black Adam with The Rock. Another.
Tell him I said what's up.
Yeah.
I tag him all the time on Instagram. He never hits me back.
I've legit DM'd him twice. No lie.
Like those contests thing. Like whenever you're supposed to tag somebody, I don't for some reason The Rock is
I was just trying to talk to The Rock. I wasn't in no contest.
This guy.
So I got that. I got a few other things. This year has made me realize maybe I need to open my wings a little wider and figure out maybe because if this happens again, like I just can't make a living. You know what I mean? Like at the end of the day, I got to support my family. So it just maybe I
diversify.
Yeah, diversify a little bit. But we'll see though. I'm a resourceful dude. I'll figure it out.
That you are.
Yeah, so,
I've never.
Yeah.
And you're also not lazy at all. You're probably the least lazy person.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
I'm lazy in all the times you don't see me. You're just so much more lazier. I'm just kidding, Buzz. I'm just kidding, Buzzer. You're not lazy. I know. I'm just kidding.
I'm gonna go build a motor in the garage after this show.
You are, aren't
Look at
you?
the fire extinguisher real quick. Put this heat down.
But no, thanks for having me on. So even though Corey didn't say shit the entire time.
did.
No,
I chimed in. It wouldn't be the same without
I was stoked you're here.
next.
I was stoked you're here. You're going.
No, Denim Cox is next. Because
Denim
you're
is
gonna be
next?
gone. You said you don't get back till mid-January.
When are you leaving?
Where are you going?
We're leaving Christmas morning.
Who's we?
Christian and I.
Yeah.
Road tripping up north to Oregon.
Finish it. Little MTB and finish up that iTunes project.
Him and I have been working on a project for about 5
They're
years.
going
not
to they're
iTunes,
going to
not
Oregon
iTunes.
and Washington in
Just
January. I was like, what in the fuck are you guys doing?
But that part is mostly mountain bike stuff.
Are you going to mountain bike in the rain and 30-degree weather?
That's what you do.
That sounds gnarly.
When you see the footage of like how it works,
It'll look
with
great.
the dirt, it makes the dirt so
Okay,
good. Yeah.
okay.
So it's gonna be good.
Well,
Sweet.
Well,
Anyway,
bummed we're not going to have you on until.
Yeah.
It'll be I'll be back.
Well, Denim Cox.
I'm pretty much gonna be around San Diego for a while.
What I really want to know is what is the best bike rider in the world doing lately?
Let's hit up
Are we
Nathan.
talking about me?
No, we're talking about Dennis.
Oh, all right, yeah.
What do you got going on?
You know, same thing.
Just getting rad every day. Wait, I picture that your days like wake up, get rad, go to bed.
So
no, they're real chill.
every once in a while, Dennis will send me a text, be like, "Hey, do you want to shoot photos like tomorrow or later? Later today or something?" And I just go, "Yes, I do."
Yeah,
and then he does. He does gnarly shit. Yeah. Half the time I barely even show up in time.
Yeah, usually I'm already like.
I literally showed up. I showed up one time and he was on the roof, and I literally I had my camera out of the bag already because he was like, "Hey, we're here. The cops already been called." Yeah. And I got my camera out.
I was like
already.
2 in a row because the other one like the week before.
Yeah.
I was like, "Fudger, we got to get this right now."
Yeah.
He just pulls up in his car. He's like, "All right,
amazing."
Yeah.
Wow.
I literally took the camera out, laid on the ground, and then shot the photo.
Yeah,
and it was like
just amazing.
Secretly working on stuff right now.
Yeah,
that's all I want to do is try and keep going. So
yeah,
it's
it's hard, isn't it?
I love it.
Yeah.
Like it's just honestly, I thought the last part I was like, oh, I'll just chill, and as soon as I was finished with that, I was like, I just want to keep going.
Is it hard for you to decipher what is good? Meaning like changing from what you like to what is good. It's different for you because everything you do is so good.
Well, thanks. No,
but
honestly,
you know what I mean? Like,
honestly, it's just been like.
Do you have a problem going like, I want to do something so different? Like, I want to do something so different from the last thing I did.
No, I kind of always like just know what is there and what I'm gonna do. The problem right now is like doing some things where I'm like, I've fucking never seen anyone really like do this trick on something like this. So I'm like, can I hold on? Like just these thoughts are coming into my head because like usually I can kind of like judge stuff, but I've been like riding a lot of rails lately, and it's just like kind of trying to decipher impact or not. Just like sitting at the top of rails, like fuck, I don't know if I got this, but I don't know.
Yeah, like that one you put up the other day where you dead man double like.
God, I want to ask. Yeah, what?
Dude, you look like you almost went too far.
No offense to who filmed that clip, but who filmed that clip?
Well, there's a story behind that.
Yeah, because there's something. Yeah,
because they're fired.
No, because it's just not. It's
we had
not,
two angles. We had two angles, and they both worked great together. But the hype was just real high, and Lewis was filming the second angle, and I was just like, I'm doing this shit right now, boys. And Lewis was like, you fucking got that. Like, Lewis shit. I was like looking at Lewis, like right here, Lewis Mills, and he said something like, you got this, it was like hype me up. I was like, all right, let's do it. And when he did that, he bumped the camera completely out of focus and out of frame.
Oh shit.
So that's a second angle that's just lost forever.
Yeah. What about that guy?
Not Lewis's fault.
Who's that guy with the cell phone?
That's Robert Montoya, the dude who you said something about him filming. Hit him up. He's probably got that clip.
Fuck, I want that clip. So
I know. I wish there was another angle of that.
Yeah. Because like the side clip is like, I mean, it happens.
So
it happens when it's like an intense clip like that. I'm sure is like spooked in general, but it's like
and my shoulder was so fucked doing that.
There's
I could barely bunny hop. You can see it in the clip. I'm just like,
it's like the drop down because you can't even see. You don't even really pull up.
Yeah.
Right?
Like you and Nate. I mean, I think you and Nathan are in the running for the biggest gap because that triple triple gap one that he did is so fucked. So, but that one's huge, dude. But I just feel like the clip just like where's the second angle? Why is it framed so weird? It's so big. Like I just tweaked when I saw that clip the first time. So
unreal.
Send me that guy's Instagram.
All right. What's up, Rober?
Yeah, I will literally hit him up. Like, give me that clip. So, okay. Sorry, we made it. Yeah, there's another Dennis portion of the podcast. So
there you go.
They're getting the behind the scenes info.
Slowly
one podcast
trickled out a little bit, little 30-second thing.
Just gotta piece them all together now, and you have a Dennis.
Hell yeah, Mike! Thank you for coming out.
Yeah, thanks.
If we do some other stuff, if you're around, come down and.
I'll come down anytime. Yeah.
So
I mean, honestly, I appreciate it. For me, it's like I get to be a part of BMX still in a way that because I get to be a part of BMX just with these group of guys that I do stuff with, which is and that's what BMX is to me now. But I get to come down and be a part of the rest of it for a little bit, even if it just sounds insane.
Well,
it's good. I appreciate
BMX wants to keep you as well, so it goes both ways.
You sure you want to check with anybody on that?
Yeah, I posted the trailer about the Nathan document. I mean, and it got some comments.
Is there a Nathan doc coming out
on Christmas? And then I posted your trailer this morning. I refreshed it like 15 minutes later. You had more comments already. Well, it's like
because he's more popular.
Well, it's like one of the I paid everyone.
Yeah, right. But I mean, it's like one of those things. Like it doesn't come. I mean, Nathan's had a fucking amazing year, so it's like there's been a lot of Nathan guys, but it's like it's not every day the fucking Rooftop edit comes out. So
which is why it's so hard to put out.
Oh, I'm sure.
Because my biggest thing, you heard me say it. I was like, I
just don't want it to be embarrassing.
Like I know, because I know this isn't like a video part like we talked about.
Yeah.
I just needed to make it because I knew I don't have the time to spend on that, but I just need to make it not embarrassing.
Just quality.
Well, I don't. Just not embarrassing. I'll settle for not embarrassing at this point. You know what I mean? Like just not embarrassing.
As long, I mean, it's one of those things we've talked about it a bunch of times. So you find your place and what makes you happy, and there's a whole bunch of people that just want to see that.
I know. I just want as long as my place isn't under the embarrassing marker.
Yeah,
it's not.
So
people love it.
Yeah. So,
but yeah, no, I'm psyched. It was fun. It was fun to actually film again. It was the first time I'd rode street in 4 years.
Fuck yeah.
So it was good. It was fun. We went on a little trip with Jason Enns and Biz and like rode a little bit of street. If you can call it street, but it was fun.
Street trannies.
Yeah. Well, thanks for everything you've done for BMX, all your
Thank
video
you,
parts,
Thanks,
always
dude.
being. I love the professionalism you have towards it, and the way you're even still thinking about it with edits and parts and Instagram, and like you're just, even though you say you're like trying to step away from it, not get too involved, like your thought process of it is still so cool.
Oh, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
It's the way it should be done. Still, you know.
Oh.
And to a degree.
To a degree.
Yeah.
I think that there's just so much.
Well, it's changed so much.
We've already talked about it.
Yeah, it's changed
We
so
literally
much,
already said it. Yeah. But it's a beautiful thing that
Thanks,
your
man.
mindset's still in it like that, and just like you're 43.
Yeah.
How old are you, Corey?
Why you want to know?
I want to
Come
know.
on, yeah, I want to know.
No, 37. Be
37.
38
But
in
before
April.
this goes,
You guys
can I tell
both turned
one?
pro young. That's the thing.
Yeah, I was 16 or something.
And you too, right?
I was 19.
Yeah. Okay.
I just really we had 90 seconds for another story.
Tell it.
We got all the
Okay,
time.
so
I actually just thought of another question.
This is great.
So
This is great. So
That's what it's for.
I-
It's become-
the first time I met Corey was at the
I
Anaheim.
knew this was coming.
Oh,
the
yes.
the Anaheim contest. There was a contest right in front of the Anaheim Stadium, and I met him for a second. Like, hey, how's it going? And I was like, he was doing these like. There was an upward, like a rail that goes up to where you roll into the jump box, you know? He was going up it and like chinking his sprocket off the end. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, damn, this dude's sick.
Like 180 sprocket,
yeah.
like grinds basically back then. It was
How
you just
was
grind
his
your chain.
accent back then?
I don't know. I mean, he didn't talk to me. But
I didn't talk to anybody.
So,
Come on.
but then, so fast forward, like not long after that, we were in Derby, England for the Backyard Jam, right? And I came down. Like the thing is like everyone's kind of staying usually at the same hotel, and they have free breakfast or whatever. So everyone kind of goes there and then goes over to the skate park around the corner. So I come down, and you never know when someone's going to come down because and there's no one in there, and Corey's in there. He's eating by himself, having coffee. And I'm like, oh, I'll go sit with Corey. I mean, we're bike riders, right? Like we're going to sit in an empty room by, you know what I mean? 5 feet from each other. So I sat down. I sit down. I'm like, hey, man, how's it going? And he looks at me, grabs his coffee, gets up, and walks away.
What is wrong with you? What is wrong with you?
And I remember sitting I remember
was
saying
timid.
out.
I don't know. Maybe I don't. Maybe I was just too
I remember
scared.
saying out loud to myself, I was like, well, that went well.
You don't remember it?
No.
What?
No,
How do you not
I don't
remember
know.
it?
That's what I mean. Like I was so young. I was like 21,
Yeah,
22.
and
you know
he's
what I mean?
probably
I
like
was
prime of his career, like superhero.
I was just
But I
timid.
sat
by all
with him
these
like, hey,
dudes.
man, how you doing?
That was my probably my first real time going overseas. Like was it 2002? October?
know.
Probably.
You're just like, I'm better off not saying anything. I'm out.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
But I mean, I don't remember it, but I do
Snubbed.
believe that would be me for
It's
sure.
pretty-
I didn't
pretty
talk
funny.
to. I was real quiet and shy.
Could have been
Like I
super
didn't.
jet lagged too, and just like,
Oh
fuck.
man, yeah.
No, stop
But-
making excuses.
I don't
Fucking
know. I'm trying to
weirdo.
figure out.
He's got my
Fucking
back.
weirdo.
Yeah.
Dennis got my back.
Yeah.
That was a straight up little Alabama dickhead.
This is
Really?
pretty funny.
You think it was
No,
that?
Not at all. Not at all.
We all have our dickhead faces, except you. You've always been good.
I've been a dickhead.
No, you've always been good.
I've seen him get maced.
Yeah.
What's your other question?
I've always heard a story about the nickname Rooftop, and
yeah.
I'm not entire. I've heard two versions. So
Well, let's
I
hear
don't-
your versions.
Well, the versions essentially was that you rode off of roofs and he's up on a rooftop, and then I've heard the one where you were super annoying.
they strapped
and
you
yeah,
to
and you're
the
gonna
roof.
get strapped to the rooftop of the car if you don't shut
Well,
the fuck up. So
in the documentary they're making, you have all the people who name me Rooftop tell the story. So
Okay.
I'll let you get the really good version of it there. But really, I was 14 or 15 going to Oklahoma. Like my parents said yes, and I went to Oklahoma with all the POWs, 7 of us in a van. And I was a 14-year-old, never been anywhere.
who's that? Like Todd Lyons and
No, it was like Clymer
yeah.
and Sal, probably Ian Morris, Big Island.
Okay.
I don't know who else. Axel something, this guy from Germany. So I was just a 14-year-old in a car with a bunch of 20-something-year-olds talking a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, they were just like, shut up, I'm going to put you on the roof of the car. Like the grandma from National Lampoons. So that's it. But it just happened to come out when my first photo was 360 that roof cap.
Uh-huh.
So it happened around the same time. So everyone just thought that was it.
Is that the sequence one? The Brad?
Yeah.
That's cool. Okay. Yeah, so not much has changed.
Yeah, no, nothing's changed. All right, cool.
You're the man. Thanks for coming down.
Thanks, guys.
Sick one.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
Happy
Bye.
holidays, everybody.
See you.
Awesome.
Yeah, Rooftop.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
That was fun.
Alright.
That was awesome.
Thanks.
Sick.
Yes.